put past time trial failure behind him. Pre-race favorite Cadel Evans savored his first Maillot Jaune after an emotional climb up Oudacam. But can he make up the 94 seconds he trails by in this solo journey? And Christian Vande Velde has surprised everyone on this tour but himself. Nearly out of contention after stage 16, he has fought back. Does the American have one more miraculous ride within him? By day's end, we will know the 2008 Tour de France champion. The individual time trial will decide it all next on Versus. The last time the Tour visited Saint-Amand-Montrond was in 2001. That year, Lance Armstrong put a final stamp of authority on his third Tour de France win. And we are hours away from cycling's superstardom, and the fans are well aware of the stakes. Taking a look at our Michelob Ultra GC standings, Bob, it is Carlos Sastra's Tour de lose.
Frank Schleck is teammate in second, Bernard Cole in third, but the man everybody believes has the best chance to overtake Sastra in fourth, that's Cadel Evans. Denny Menchoff looking for the podium in fifth.
American Christian Vande Velde with a great ride could get on the podium.
And Valverde, Sanchez, Valjevic, Efemkin rounding out your top 10. These men are vulnerable to losing a slot to the man in 11th, Kim Kirken from Team Columbia, a very good time trialist.
A great tour for Andy Schleck, the youngster from Team CSC, as well as American George Hincapie. Hello again, everybody. We welcome you to our Saab pre-race show. At the far end, 8-time Tour de France winner Johan Bruneel. Of course, Bob Roll with me. I'm Craig Hummer. Well, the rain, or possible rain, can't dampen the drama of the day, guys. Rain or shine, we're going to decide a Tour champion today. Now, you're both the experts, so Johan, I'm going to start with you. Why will Carlos Sastra win today?
I think he has a good chance. I don't know if he's going to win, but a minute 34 ahead of Cadel Evans, which means that basically Cadel would have to go almost 2 seconds per kilometer faster than Sastra. Sastra's wearing the yellow jersey. Sometimes they say the yellow jersey gives you wings. I hope for him it's going to be the case. He's going to be starting in last position, which means that he will have the intermediate split times of Cadel Evans, so he will know if he's in the right pace immediately or not. And ultimately, I think that in the third week, Sastra has shown that he is very, very strong. Cadel, on the contrary, gives a little bit weaker impression than last year, in my opinion. So I think it's advantage Sastra.
All right, well, Bob, play devil's advocate. Why is Cadel Evans going to win the Tour?
Well, the numbers don't lie. You got to give it to Cadel Evans. He's taken big chunks of time out of Carlos Sastra every time they've done a time trial. He gives away a little bit in the mountains, but he gains that back up on the flat stages in the individual effort against the clock. Also, talent doesn't lie. He's very good at this discipline. This is one of his best things. He loves to do it. And also, preparation doesn't lie either. He spent a lot of time in the wind tunnel. He's looked at the course. He's worked on his bike and all of his equipment. And so Cadel Evans is going to be able to vanquish that minute 34 and put on the final yellow jersey before we go to Paris.
You mentioned loving to do the time trial. That's exactly what Christian Vande Velde loves to do. So, Johan, what is the American looking to accomplish today?
Oh, I think Christian has a great ride in front of him. I mean, I've been impressed with him in the mountains, and he's not a mountain specialist. He's more a time trial specialist. So, great position on the bike. I think he can. I mean, he's maybe not able to be on the podium, but definitely a good shot at top 3 in this time trial. And who knows? Maybe he's the freshest of everybody and can win this stage.
There are some wild cards as well, Bob, that have aspirations of their own.
Oh, absolutely. You got to look at Denny Menchoff. He's got a great chance to move up there. He starts the day in 5th overall, 2:39 down. Frank Schleck and Bernard Cole, what they need to do is the absolute time trial of their lives to keep themselves on the podium. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Also, for Frank Schleck, Carlos Sastra, he has a chance to win the Tour, so it's going to be good. He'll want to do a good time, but I'm not sure that he has the same motivation that Cadel Evans and Carlos Sastra does, but time will tell. We're going to see.
It's been a great Tour de France for a couple teams, in particular Team CSC, Team Columbia, but Team CSC is putting it all on the line today. There's rumors that Cadel Evans has a €1 million bike. When we come back, we're going to talk with the Brits and get some predictions.
The 2008 Tour de France pre-race on Versus is presented by Saab and the legendary 9.3 Turbo. Saab, born from jets.
For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. Turning repetition into joy. The efficient performance of the Saab Turbo.
An American television first. From the creator of Survivor, The Contender Muay Thai. Premieres Thursday at 10 on Versus.
Tap Out's back, and they're looking for a fight, searching for the next MMA badass. Tap Out, Wednesday at 10 on Versus.
Day left to decide the jersey's the most important one. Yellow, that's Carlos Sastres at the moment. Frere in green, Andy Schleck in white, and Bernard Cole still with the polka dots. We welcome you back to our Saab pre-race show, the Batman and Robin of bicycling, Phil Liggett, Paul Sherwen, and there's a reason Mr. Batman is here today. How do you feel about bats?
I love them. I know you had a little problem with in your room last night, and you did the right thing. He actually had to check out of his room and change rooms in the chateau because the pipistrelle bats were flying around the room. You're not allowed to touch them. They're totally protected. So you did the only thing possible, Craig, leave.
Not allowed to touch them.
No.
I couldn't have touched them if I wanted to. They were so fast flying around. My wife was not happy about the bat situation. She was more the instigator of the switching of the rooms.
The consolation is they won't bite, but if they did bite, you probably had rabies by now because it's rampant here in France.
What's the first thing that shows up when you have it?
Right.
In all seriousness,
you do look
Paul,
a bit pasty today.
I do. Well, I feel pasty, but I feel fast and flighty. Rain possibility in the forecast. How's that going to affect the course?
Well, what it will do will make the race a little bit faster normally, as long as it's a good dousing of rain, because it brings a lot more oxygen into the atmosphere. It's a big question today. There's a lot of question marks about this individual time trial. I think for the last 48 hours, even 72 hours since the Alpe d'Huez, we've all been discussing who's going to win the Tour de France. I think as long as it's the same conditions for both riders, I don't really care.
Speaking of the course, Phil, take us through it. The last pivotal stage of this year's Tour, stage 20.
Yeah, well, it's a good course, I think, for both Cadel Evans and Carlos Sastre, and indeed the world time trial champion, Fabian Cancellara. We're about 300 kilometers south of Paris at the moment. We start in the little town of Cérilly, and then we go on what is a gently undulating course. It is not a mountainous course. We get 2 time checks along the way. It's 53 kilometers, and it is going to be a decisive day in the Tour de France.
A very important day in the Tour de France, so we still don't know who's going to finish in the top 3 overall. 33 miles from Cérilly to Saint-Amand-Montrond, and that's roughly the same distance between Bozeman and Three Forks in Montana, 33 miles. Second time the race has actually been here. Last time, the winner on that occasion was Lance Armstrong.
Before we get to our Saab performance predictions, I'm going to ask you to raise the stakes. Not only are we going to pick one guy for today's stage later, but starting with Bob and going on down the line, give me your podium after today.
Do we have to do it in order?
If you, hey,
it helps.
it's up to you. Right. It would help, but
I'll give you 3 names that are definitely going to be on the podium. Denny Menchov is one. He's going to leap up. Cadel Evans and Carlos Sastre are the other 2.
All right, Paul.
You coward.
Actually, I'm going to put my neck on the line here. I'm going to say Carlos Sastre to win the Tour de France ahead of Cadel Evans, and coming into 3rd place, Christian van der Velde.
Well, that's the podium I think everybody would love, but it won't happen. It'll be Cadel Evans ahead of Sastre. I'd love to see Christian come up to 3rd, but I think he might be lucky to get 4th. I think Menchov will hold on for 3rd.
Let's go. Go ahead.
And you?
And me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Evans to win, Sastre in 2nd, Menchov in 3rd.
You're probably right, actually.
We'll see.
That's the first time we've agreed in 3 weeks.
Well,
why is it I'm so far behind?
Speaking of agreement, it's now time for those Saab performance predictions. Just see who has been on the better end of those picks throughout the 3 weeks. Phil?
Well, I've been on the worst end of it. It looks as though I'm really in the spot of bother here in 5th, 5 points, 9, 11. Bob is doing... We're in trouble.
Yeah, no,
Can
we're
I
not.
just borrow the jersey for a second?
Do you realize that if you went quadruple or nothing, you still couldn't pull out the victory?
I look like I may have to concede defeat here at this stage.
So that's it. Does 1935 ring a bell, gentlemen?
I wasn't there.
You weren't there.
No,
but
was that 25
you're
minutes to
both
8
history.
or the year?
History. Here we go. 1935.
One from start to finish.
1935, the last man at the Tour de France to go yellow from day one all the way to the finish.
I've
So
been thinking about that for days.
He's a
elite,
rookie. He's a
elite
rookie.
group,
Yeah.
elite club now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's
Yeah.
go to our picks for the day. I had first pick today, and as I mentioned with my podium pick, I think Cadel Evans, the Aussie battler, comes through. I've lived in Australia. I've raced professionally in Australia. I've seen what the Australians can do when their backs are up against the wall. Somehow, Cadel Evans rolls up his sleeves, puts on the work boots, and gets it done in these conditions today. Paul?
Good pick. Excellent pick. And in fact, I might have gone for him myself, although I think Carlos Sastre is going to win the Tour overall and Cadel Evans is going to fail. So I'm going to pick the world time trial champion, Fabian Cancellara. He's worked an awful lot, and I'm not sure whether or not he's going to be a little tired, but as he is a very strong competitor, even though he's tired coming out of the Tour de France, he still is the world champion on 2 occasions at this discipline and the Swiss national time trial champion as well. So that's my pick.
Phil, I know you love to wave the home flag, the colors.
Yeah.
You went with the same colors,
Yeah.
but a different flag today.
Yeah, Robin McEwen. No. I'm disgusted in the 2 Americans, Paul, not supporting their own on this occasion when he has a
Christian
chance.
Vande Velde.
Yes, and so I will take Christian Vande Velde because he's had an absolutely outstanding Tour de France, and it would be fantastic if he could pierce the top 3 finishes today in the time trial. I believe he can do that, and he might just go that one step further and win. You don't know. He rides good time trials, and at the moment, the carrot is 3rd place in the Tour de France. That might inspire him to do something really special.
Well, speaking of one step further, you picked an American man. Bob went with an American team.
No, Bob. Juan Antonio Fletcher's not in the Tour.
He's
anymore.
gone.
I tried to go
Gone.
with Juan Antonio Fletcher, but he was eliminated on time in yesterday's stage. He
Very
had a
sad.
horrible day. He attacked. He was one of the first riders out of the blocks, got dropped, and never saw the field again. And so I went with Kim Kirken. He's in 11th. Now, top 10 in the Tour de France is a big result. He had a great first-time trial in this year's Tour, and I think he's the man to get me some points so I can stay ahead of Paul. None of us are going to catch Craig, but Kim Kirken is my man.
There's no
You
chance
guys,
I
you
can
guys
get
were
off the
fighting
bottom,
for
is
those
there?
podium places.
Well, not really. If you add all of our points together, we beat you.
Oh, well, that's not how it works, though, is it?
It will next year when I rewrite the rule books.
Okay, well,
wow.
promises. We'll have to wait until 2009. Meanwhile, you don't have to wait at all. You can log on to Versus.com and play these last 2 days and play along with your Saab performance predictions as well. Well, back in 2001, it was Lance Armstrong who dominated in the only other visit to this small central French town.
The 2008 Tour de France pre-race on Versus is presented by Saab and the legendary 9.3 Turbo. Saab, born from jets.
Pushing yourself to the edge has never tasted so good. Try new Power Bar Energized Fruit Smoothie in 3 great flavors: creamy citrus, berry blast, and tangy tropical. Rich smoothie taste. Power Bar, power to push.
I went up to one of them and I was like, hi, Don. And I was going to sit down there, and then I thought I would.
Steve, aren't you the designated driver this morning?
Yeah, I forgot. Here. Hey, I don't have to have a hot breakfast to have a good time.
Yeah, but you're more fun when you do.
Check out the new hot bar in town, the Holiday Inn Express Hot Breakfast Bar.
At Mike's Hard Lemonade, we have lots of good ideas, like coming up with the perfect combination of lemonade and alcohol. Or Mike's Hard Light Lemonade. Or, check this out, Mike's Hard Double Caffeinated Soy Lemonade.
Joey, what you got there?
The little idea I came up with is...
We don't do soy, okay?
We don't do soy.
In a world gone soft, someone's got to be hard. Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Harold and Kumar escape from Guantanamo Bay unrated.
Hi.
See behind this. Hear words that rhyme with these.
Hit, plug, fell, rack.
And experience all this.
You like to spoon?
Yeah! Buy it Tuesday on unrated Blu-ray and DVD.
When your engine's running clean, you feel it. And Pennzoil Motor Oil can clean out up to 15% of sludge in the first oil change. So change with Pennzoil and feel the clean. Not just oil, Pennzoil.
If you gonna eat $5, shouldn't you get more meat? Quizno's large deli favorite sandwiches are now $5 with more meat than similar Subway footlongs. Quizno.
We don't live in a perfect world, but you could help make it better. Train in criminal justice and you could have lots of opportunities. You could work as a parole officer, youth advocate, correctional treatment specialist, and more. Times like these call for people like you. So don't wait any longer. Find out how you can get started in criminal justice.
For a free brochure, call 800-507-3060. That's 800-507-3060. Call now.
Hi, I'm Heather, and I hope that last commercial inspired you to call this number and ask for an informational brochure on career training. If you're thinking about a new career, I'll bet you have some questions, and our brochure will give you some answers. We'll take your call 24 hours a day, all night, and weekends too. So what are you waiting for? Right now is a great time to call.
For a free brochure, call 800-507-3060. That's 800-507-3060. Call now.
As another sprint finish was sabotaged by the breakaway artist on yesterday's stage, today it's the Tour winner's title that is up for grabs as the riders are confronted by the all-important race of truth. The clock will be counting as the men of the individual pursuit will struggle to try and leave their own mark on this event. But it's the biggest question of the overall that remains unanswered as the peloton waits now for their new champion to be unveiled. Former maillot jaune Cadel Evans is known for his time trialing speed, but is there enough power left in the engine to bridge the minute and 34-second gap to the current race leader Carlos Sastre? Also not to be overlooked is the American Christian van der Velde, who is one brave ride away from landing himself a final podium finish. It's mano a mano as each rider must race the clock alone in this final effort before the peloton hits Paris. Stay with us now. The Stage 20 time trial up next on Versus. Well, it is stage 20 of the Tour de France for 19 days and 3,330 kilometres, and we still don't know who is going to win this year's Tour de France. Will we know the answer tonight? We should here in the town of Saint-Amand-Montrond, because this is the final time trial before we go to Paris. There's a risk of rain, but at the moment it is dry here and the crowd full of anticipation. Hi everybody, as indeed we are. Phil Liggett with Paul Sherwen. Welcome back to our live coverage on Versus, the race of truth, which what we've always called it. It's never been a truer phrase than today.
Absolutely, Phil. This is my 30th year on the Tour de France this year, and I have to say, of the men in the top 5 places in the overall classification, I can't tell you who's going to win. In fact, I can't tell you who's going to get onto the podium.
Well, who is going to get onto that final podium? One thing's for certain, tomorrow, whoever leaves here in yellow will do so. This is how we go out today. Carlos Sastre leads, as he has for 2 days, a minute and 24 over teammate Frank Schleck, 1:33 over Bernard Cole. Cadel Evans is the hot favourite. He sits in fourth at a minute 34 off the lead. Denny Menchoff still a bit of a surprise there at 2:39. Christian van der Velde races today for a top 3 finish in Paris, 4:41. But Paul, take a look at this. The last time trial the Tour de France, in the most recent times, no one has ever come back from where Cadel Evans is right now.
Exactly. The biggest comebacks have been from 3rd position. That was Charlie Gall back in 1959. 1988, and he was looking for 1 minute and 7 seconds. And of course, the great comebacks from Greg LeMond, well, they were only from second place. LeMond in 89 was looking for 50 seconds, and LeMond in 1990 was looking for just 5 seconds. No one has really gone back as far as 1 minute and 34 seconds and tried to climb up from 4th place overall. It's going to be a battle for Cadel Evans, Phil.
And, of course, all of those top riders start at the end of the starting order. We've had heavy rain here all morning. At the moment, it has gone away. These are with the situations at the notable start times. George Hincapie from the USA goes at 8:56 Eastern Time. Van der Velde goes at 11 minutes past 10. Menchoff just behind him. Cadel Evans at 3 minutes after Menchoff. All of the top names going at 3-minute gaps. And we couldn't open our programme with a better result than this. Early starter Danny Pate here has pulled out a tremendous ride, the best time at every check, and coming up to the finishing line at 53 kilometres here, just outside our commentary box. Best time, 1:06:45 is what will go down for Danny Pate, and that's the time to beat at the moment. And as you can see, he's ahead of Sebastian Rosler. Leif Hoster, who was an early leader, Carlos Barredo and Brett Lancaster are the current top 5 riders in the event. But as you can see, the skies too are beginning to clear just a little bit. But now let's get out on course, because this man, Paul, the upside down world of Fabian Cancellara, has gone best time through the check, just getting ahead of Danny Pate, and just ahead of Cancellara is David Miller.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Cancellara went through that first time check 43 seconds faster than David Miller, 47 seconds faster than Danny Pate. Let's not forget, and this man is wearing a special jersey there, Phil. That is the jersey that designates him as the world champion. 2 times he's been world champion in this discipline, and he's looking to, I think here, finish off his Tour de France with a win.
Well, as we'll move around the course a lot today, as we pick up various riders, it's the Case de Pan rider, Jose Ivan Gutierrez, time trial champion, former of Spain. Meanwhile, as we switch towards the finish here now to see the arrival of Bowler World's Schuler, Gianpaolo Schuler coming in. 13th place he's aiming at just now, that of Perez. He'll probably slip, might just get inside that. Hits the line, he goes 13th now. There's the time of Danny Pate sitting proudly #1 just now. Nice strong wind blowing again, but there are parts of the course totally sheltered. There are no wind. There are also parts of the course where the wind does swing onto your nose.
Well, the theory is that this course, Phil, here this afternoon suits a big strong man, and that strong man is hoping it's going to be Cadel Evans for Australia. Fabian Cancellara here riding for himself. He can't help Carlos Sastre at all here, except for the fact, Phil, that he could set times out on the course, and then later on in the afternoon his teammate Carlos Sastre can come back and say, well, I have to go hard at this point, I have to slow down at this point, I need to save a little bit, keep a bit of energy in the gas tank for the last 3 kilometers, or you know, those little pieces of advice are very helpful when it comes out to coming and attacking this time trial when you're the last man.
And of course he wants to win anyway, as you say, because he's the world champion. He got 5 time trial wins last year, including the world champion. As we move to another champion of the time trial here, this is David Miller of Garmin Chipotle. And David saying this week that the team has done more than they had hoped for in this year's Tour de France, a new team, and they couldn't agree with him more. There's the long empty road ahead for Fabian Cancellara at the moment, as he starts to look now to catch his 2-minute man today. The big boys will go at the end, of course. They will be 3-minute intervals. And this race of truth today surely will decide not only the time trial, but the Tour de France.
Hampton, we love having you here.
The next available representative will be with you in 4 hours, 10 minutes.
Get your identity stolen? You'll spend day after day on the phone getting it back with calls to the bank, credit cards, the Social Security office, and on it goes.
Please continue to hold.
Fortunately, there's Farmers Identity Shield. For just $65 or less per year, your credit is monitored.
Thank you for holding.
Plus, a personal fraud advocate helps make all those calls no matter how long it takes. So make only one now. 1-800-FARMERS.
2002 was my first tour. I definitely remember the feeling I had when we swung onto the Champs-Élysées on the last stage for the first time. There's millions of people there lining the streets. I got goosebumps. I've done the tour 5 times, and every time on the Champs-Élysées, it's a great feeling.
You style chest hair here?
No.
Too bad.
Ow! I'm sorry. Excuse me, I need an answer. Did you just come?
Excuse me. I'm here for the stylist position.
Crazy times call for crazy fun. Plan your escape at visitlasvegas.com.
Kenda Tires is giving cycling fans the chance of a lifetime with the Kenda Fantasy Cycling Challenge. Pick your riders, watch the tour, and you could win a trip to the 2009 Tour de France. Kenda, the #1 bicycle tire in North America, also offers high-quality passenger tires and light truck tires that are both reliable and affordable, which is why so many people trust Kenda Tires, no matter what they're driving. For more information about Kenda Tires and to find a dealer near you, visit KendaTiresUSA.com. Kenda Tires, performance-minded, value-conscious.
The 2008 Tour de France on Versus is brought to you by Hampton Hotels. At Hampton, we love having you here. And by Farmers Insurance. To find an agent near you, go to farmers.com.
Welcome back to the time trial. This might be interesting because Chris Froome is just coming home now, and he's just outside of Danny Pate's time. Well, he was only 5 seconds behind Pate at the check before the finish, and he's come home just 6 seconds behind him. So Chris Froome slots in second place. Rosler is third now, Hoster fourth, and Barredo is fifth. Well, Danny Pate finished a little while ago. Robbie Ventura is behind the stands here, talking with him now.
After 20 days of racing, 50 guys down in the race, you have the best time on the course. Must be feeling pretty good right now.
It's good to be done with today. Even when you're good at time trials, they still never feel good. So, yeah, it's nice to only have one day tomorrow. And I heard half of the race is a joke, and then the last part of the race is hard. So, hopefully the easy part lasts longer than the hard part tomorrow.
How are the conditions out there today? How was the course? How does it suit you? And what advice are you going to give Christian and David?
It's a lot of headwind out there. A lot of headwind and a lot of chip seals. So you kind of got to look for the sweet spot in the road. But I don't know, man. It's hard. You do an hour time trial. It wasn't really didn't have a lot of big hills in it, but it was a pretty hard course after the rest of the tour. You know, we did 20 whatever days before. So
good job, Danny. Congratulations on your first Tour de France.
Thanks.
Yes, absolutely, Danny. Well, he's smiling now, Paul. That's the first time I think we've seen Danny Pate smile in an interview all tour. The pressure slowly coming off this young man who is tomorrow finishing his first Tour de France. Back out on course, Jose Ivan Gutierrez here. Spanish boy that is riding very strongly and always turns in a good time trial. Just looking at the checks, by the way, Cancellara is still awaited at check number 2, where Sebastian Lang has gone through there. 15 seconds better than Danny Pate's best time. So might be more trouble on the way for the American.
Well, Jose Ivan Gutierrez has been 4 times the national time trial champion of Spain. He really is an expert at this kind of discipline, but today I think we're going to see some fine performances, especially at the top end of the leaderboard, Phil, because there is so much at stake in a time trial like this one here this afternoon, and very rarely can I remember 5 riders, even the possibility of a 6th if you include Christian van der Velde, vying for the top 3 places within 24 hours of the finish.
It's a great feeling. Let's face it, these guys are watching now. They're the warm-up artists today for the battle that will follow at the back end of the start list. All of the top riders will be starting at 3-minute intervals, and they'll be really getting down to it. Now, this is a man we saw win yesterday, also wearing the red number as most aggressive rider, but today he wears the colours of the champion of France. He's the time trial champion.
Well, in fact, he's just gone through the first time check there with the second fastest time, 2 seconds faster than David Miller, but 41 seconds slower than Fabian Cancellara. So he's obviously recuperated from his victory yesterday.
Yeah.
It was a great victory, and in fact, Phil, of all of the riders in the Tour de France so far, Sylvain Chavanel has been on the breakaway or in a breakaway for the longest number of kilometres, 408 kilometres, 250 miles at the front of the race.
And all that to get just one stage win in the Tour de France. Can you believe that, Paul? Well, Ivan Gutierrez has just passed 40 kilometres to go, so he's 13 kilometres into his challenge as he continues on the way. Cancellara seems to be setting the new time checks, but he's done his job. Danny Pate is the leader at the moment. See you in a moment.
Joey came up with some new bottle designs. Okay, this one says, I appreciate art. And this one says, you're an unselfish lover. And this one says... You're fired.
In a world gone soft, someone's got to be hard. Mike's Hard Lemonade.
What if we could replace something harmful with water? The Honda Fuel Cell Vehicle, a car that emits no pollution, only clean water vapor.
Start your engines. It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
Harold and Kumar are on the run, and NPH is on something.
You will come with us.
Harold and Kumar escape from Guantanamo Bay.
Its horn was so shiny.
Buy it July 29th on unrated Blu-ray and DVD.
Dude, who uses a body wash to get clean?
This won't increase my ability to mate.
It's gonna make the ladies want to smell me. Just put their nose and just
Finally, a body wash for grown-ups. New Nivea for Men body wash has a fresh, subtle scent and is good for your skin. Works for me. Nivea for Men, what men want.
I'm the guy that everybody wants to beat.
He seems like a pretty cool guy.
I like the way he hugs his wife.
I hear he plays bass, so that's cool.
I don't know, he just seems like my kind of guy.
Well, he's a cat person, so...
Tune to Elections 08 on demand for all the information you need on interests, issues, facts, and candidates. Elections 08 on demand. Vote smart.
Press 890 on your digital remote or from your Channel 1 on-demand menu. Select News and World, then Elections 08.
The price of gold has changed. Now you can get extra cash. Recycle old gold scraps, gathering dust. Call the number on your screen for quick cash. The Gold Kit is absolutely free. Send old rings, charms, dental scrap, and more.
I got $600 for my scrap gold.
It's easy. Call the toll-free number now. We'll mail you the kit and payment information with a check to follow promptly. Gold Kit and postage are free. Your satisfaction guaranteed. Call the number on your screen now or visit goldkit.com.
Tap Out's back, and they're looking for a fight, searching for the next MMA badass. Tap Out, Wednesday at 10 on Versus.
We look out across the town here at Saint-Amand-Montrond, and this is where the time trial finishes today, coming in from the cheese area of Cérilly. And undulating course, the wind is a little bit troublesome. We've heard Danny Pate tell us there's a lot of headwind out there today. Danny Pate seems to have battled it with a great deal of success. He's still got the best time, 1:06:44.8.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal performance. Don't forget, Danny Pate, in fact, a former under-23 world time trial champion. And that discipline, once you've found yourself into it, it's something that stays with you throughout the whole of your career, which is why we see the same names coming to the top in the individual time trials. Names like Fabian Cancellara, David Miller, they're great individual time trialists. And now I think that Danny Pateville is starting to write his name up there as well. 1:06.44. I'm not sure it's going to be a winning time here this afternoon. I think the winning time will be closer to 1:04 or 1:05.
This is Jose Ivan Gutierrez out on course. We're waiting for his first results at the first check. Velic has just gone through there, by the way. Well, don't forget, just the final weekend left for you to join us on our Saab Watch and Win sweepstakes. And for the... Oh, wait a minute. This looks like David Miller coming through the first check at 36 kilometres at Charenton-du-Cher. And he's running the time at, well, he's going to still rival the time of Sebastian Lang, who got the better of Danny Pate here about 15 minutes ago. David Miller has gone through, he still holds third best time behind Cancellara and Chavanel, first check. And it looks as though he's gone through with the best time there, Paul, so he's improving all the way.
Yeah, best time for David Miller by 31 seconds at that point. Looking very concentrated here, realizing today's a day when he can put the seal on what's been a great year at the Tour de France this year for Team Garmin-Chipotle. Here we're looking at Jose Ivan Gutierrez. His position is absolutely superb, locked on the machine.
Well, let's have a look then. This is the standings at the checkpoint. We've just seen Miller arrive at 43.41. He's good beating there to Sebastian Lang and Danny Pate. Now Cancellara is heading to the same point, so this is going to be a new best time. And Cancellara is absolutely flying here. We all thought, you know, he'd done so much unselfish working in the mountains for his team that he really wouldn't have the legs for the time trial today. And look at this, Paul.
Well, Phil, you don't win 2 titles of champion of the world in the individual time trial without having a massive motor. And that is 1 minute and 3 seconds faster than David Miller. I have to say, Phil, I wouldn't have been surprised if Fabian Cancellara had taken a back seat here this afternoon because of all of the work that he's done in the Tour de France so far. But he said, nope, I want to win this time trial.
Well, of course, overall he's way down, but he might well be winning this time trial today and laying the foundations of an outstanding team victory tomorrow for CSC. Now we'll make a third attempt to remind you of our Saab Watch and Win sweepstakes. Here we go. Don't forget, enjoy the game. Versit.com/fly to the finish. Chance to win a Saab 9.3 Sport Combi or a Cervelo SLC SL bike, or even a polka dot or yellow jersey, which are all signed by the so-called talent on the television here. And today's code words, as you see there, is time trial today. And as Jens Voigt would tell us, it wouldn't take a rocket scientist to guess that one today. So we're looking out along the beautiful forested area here. This is a lovely region. It's a brilliant area for a time trial. These roads away from the towns are idyllic, and people have had to come in from the sides left and right because they haven't been able to drive down the course for most of the day today. But as we watch a former champion of Spain here, he's gone through the check. I see 11th best time, a minute 16 slower than Cancellara, who is absolutely scorching up the French roads today. The world champion is on fire. See you in a moment.
Hi, welcome to Progressive.com. How can I help you?
Well, I haven't shopped for car insurance in a while.
And you're worried that you've been paying too much, right?
Yeah. So how can I know I'm getting a good deal?
We can compare your Progressive Direct rate with other top companies.
Wow. Seriously?
Yeah. Look at the deal we just got him.
That's a new pair of shoes.
Yeah, or a big tricked out name tag.
Making sure you get a great deal. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
A lot of choices, huh?
Tell me about it.
Because you want a beer that's not too heavy.
Yeah?
But you don't want to compromise on taste, so.
No, I don't.
Just want that perfect balance.
Budweiser. Oh, thanks, man. You know, they ought to pay you.
Steer to help.
You look so fine that I really want to make you mine.
One of the biggest challenges for geoscientists is trying to find the oil and gas that's hidden below the surface of the Earth. Lately, our researchers have developed a new technology called R3M. You can't see it and you can't feel it, but the Earth has electromagnetic waves. And if you build the right kinds of listening devices, you can make sense of those waves. So using those tools, we can supply more of the energy that we need with less of an impact on the environment.
Come on, what woman doesn't melt when they hear an accordion?
By the time I met Randy, I knew what I was looking for.
Everybody's complex. We oversimplify ourselves and we oversimplify each other a lot.
What's been surprising about love is that it's a lot easier than I thought it would be.
It feels good not to have to be anything other than who you are. I put that on my eHarmony thing, by the way, is me playing the accordion.
Did you?
No.
Log on and review your matches for free. eHarmony.com.
In this world, you don't choose your battle. It chooses you.
I'm gonna stop this guy.
Never back down. Come on. Never Back Down. Own it on DVD and Blu-ray.
Of all the numbers you encounter, along your journey to wherever you're going, you'll find there's one number you can always count on for a great night's rest. Super 8, now with free high-speed internet, free breakfast, and more. Super 8, see you along the way.
We believe we make the world's best bikes.
Welcome back. These are the Budweiser American standings. The four Americans having a great Tour de France, not least, of course, Van der Velde in 6th, George Hincapie 36th, Danny Page, we've seen him lead the time trial today, he's 97th, Will Frischkorn is 132nd. This is a huge day for Christian Van der Velde, so let's see what he has to say earlier this morning with Robbie Ventura.
Christian, your 5 previous Tour de France's, you've never been in a GC position like this heading into the final time trial. What type of emotions are going through your mind right now, and how do you channel those to put out a great performance today?
The last time trial is different. You know, there's a lot. It's 53K, and you need a lot of motivation. You know, first and foremost to get through it. I mean, there's times in the past I've always tried in the last time trial, but in the middle of the time trial, you're like, why am I even trying? This hurts so bad, and for nothing. What am I going to move up a spot? I'm 24th or 26th, whatever. So, yeah, I have much more motivation this time, and I'm in better shape and everything, so I have a better chance of doing well and moving up the ladder in the GC.
You know your team has researched this time trial completely. What sort of pacing strategy will you use? Will you use previous time checks? Will you look at your power meter? Will you just go by feel? How do you optimize your pacing strategy today?
It's more just going to be myself and speed and just trying to go as fast as I can at every point in time in the race. I don't really care about what Fabian's done in front of me or this or that, because my race really isn't against Fabian, you know, and he's going to be doing much better on the first downhill parts than I am, and I might take time on him back. So it's I don't want to get myself all freaked out and vice versa. I don't want to get too ahead of myself and this and that. So it's my own race today. 53K, it's a long time, and yeah, it's just me.
What will you want Matt White to say to you in the car? We want to kind of keep you mellow. We want him to motivate you. What sort of things do you want to hear from him in the car?
Motivate. You could tell me whatever. That's not going to help me at the end of the day. You know, it's not at all. I just want hard facts. You know, like this is this long. You're this far behind. Don't lie to me. Don't say this. Don't say I'm going fast when I'm going slow. Just tell me how it is. You know, I don't care.
This thing is 53K. You know, you took some time out of Bernard Cole in the first time trial as well as Schleck. But, you know, fatigue comes into play. Everything comes into play today. Realistically, how do you see this thing shaking out, and what's your expectation by day's end?
Realistically, I mean, I could take as much as 3 minutes out of people. But, you know, like you said, there's so many different scenarios. I mean, yesterday was horribly hard. It was one of the hardest days of the whole tour. And so that will hopefully play into my favor and play into other people's favor, you know, and then, you know, you saw Fabian just sit up and just relax in. I mean, that's just intelligence, you know. But I didn't have the luxury of doing that kind of thing, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it's a different animal. It's the second last stage. Motivation, heart, and soul. It's gonna, you have to put it all out there.
Good luck today, Christian.
Yes, good luck, Christian van der Velde. Everything counts today, and you are really on your own as soon as you drop out of that start house. Well, as we go to the finish here, we're expecting a good time. This is the arrival of Sebastian Lang here. He was 35 seconds better than Danny Pate at 6 kilometres to go, and it looks like he's held on to that gap. As he comes up to the line, it's going to be beating Pate's time, and it looks like it's going to be 35 seconds. Paul, he never gained a second on Pate over those last 2 time checks, but he's got the lead.
Yeah, but don't forget this man has been the national champion in the time trial of Germany, and he's an experienced rider over this kind of effort. You can see the pain there, Phil, written across his face. So a new best time, 1:06.09.
Yep.
As you say, 35 seconds faster than Danny Pate. I'm impressed with the ride by the young Kenyan rider there, Chris Froome, in 3rd place. As we go a little bit further back, this is the champion of the time trial from Spain, and this is Luis Leon Sanchez.
Well, let's see how he's going, because he's coming through, I think, to the first check here. We've got nothing on him so far. We're not even going to see that. We've cut away. We have no control over the pictures, as you know. It's our French hosts who take us where we go. We're out to Marco Velo here. He's the second to last guy to have started at the moment. He'll be chased by David Moncoutier. So he's settling in for Team Milram. Overall, Lang is now the leader, ahead of Danny Pate at the finish. As we go down to the start house, the familiar face there of Eric Zabel.
Eric Zabel, I suppose I have to say, one of my heroes in the sport of professional cycling, Phil. He's been around for an awful long time. 38 years of age this year, and currently lying 2nd overall in the points classification. That's a classification I don't think anybody now can challenge Oscar Freire, but Eric Zabel, for pride, I would have to say, would very bit like to finish in 2nd place on the Champs-Élysées.
Let's have a look what Charentin Duchère, the check at 36 kilometres. Chavanel was 2nd at the first check. He's actually slipped a little bit here now because he's chasing Danny Pate's 4th best time as it is now. So Chavanel is feeling the pressure of that long breakaway yesterday, and he's starting to slow down quite early on here. He's gone behind Pate, and now he's looking at the time of Chris Froome. He gets better than Chris Froome, so he's through there in the 5th best time. So as we look at the face here of the man who got the 3rd stage win of this year's Tour de France, for France, Sylvain Chavanel, there is the new leader of the time trial, but all the top names are still warming up.
If you think these guys ride fast and efficient, how about something that's turbocharged? It's the Saab Fly to the Finish sweepstakes with a fantastic grand prize, a Cervelo SLC SL bicycle, and a brand new Saab 9.3 Sport Combi. Watch the Tour de France every day on Versus and look for the on-screen code. Then log on to versus.com/fly-to-the-finish to enter. Because if you don't try, you can't fly. The Saab Fly to the Finish sweepstakes, brought to you by Saab, Cervelo, and Bicycling Magazine. And watch the tour only on Versus.
Horsepower is here, and no leading synthetic oil delivers more power than Q horsepower, which is why it's recommended by Ferrari for every oil change. Q horsepower. Unleash all your horses.
Domestique literally means servant. Christian van der Velde was a domestique. He served Lance Armstrong for 5 years. Now, he's serving notice.
Got a car to sell?
Go to VHIX.com.
Millions of people go to VHIX.com looking for a car.
I would never do a newspaper classified again. The best part is it's free.
Absolutely free. All you do is you upload a picture.
You put in a few facts about your car.
Then someone searches for a used car like yours.
Bingo, there's your car.
Pops up in their search results.
And it's free.
How can you beat that? This is the best way to sell a car.
List your used car for free and reach millions of car buyers at VHIX.com, your online resource to find your ride. Dealer inventories are now searchable at VHIX.com on your mobile phone.
Got a car to sell?
Go to VHIX.com.
Millions of people go to VHIX.com looking for a car.
I would never do a newspaper classified again. The best part is it's free.
Absolutely free. All you do is you upload a picture.
You put in a few facts about your car.
Then someone searches for a used car like yours.
Bingo, there's your car.
Pops up in their search results.
And it's free.
How can you beat that? This is the best way to sell a car.
List your used car for free and reach millions of car buyers at VHIX.com, your online resource to find your ride. Watch our buying guides and test drives powered by Wheels TV on Comcast On Demand.
The road and looking for a fight, searching for the next MMA badass. Tap Out's back, Wednesday at 10 on Versus.
There are 6 billion of us. We don't always agree, but for a few shining weeks, we set it all aside. We come together. We forget all the things that make us different, and remember all the things that make us the same. Visa, proud sponsor of the Olympic Games, and the only card accepted there.
At Mike's Hard Lemonade, we have lots of good ideas, like coming up with the perfect combination of lemonade and alcohol. Or Mike's Hard Light Lemonade. Or, check this out, Mike's Hard Double Caffeinated Soy Lemonade.
Joey, what you got there?
The little idea I came up with is...
We don't do soy, okay?
We don't do soy.
In a world gone soft, someone's got to be hard. Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Welcome back to the Tour de France time trial. Remember, when the Tour finishes tomorrow, the next stage of Versus Red, White, Black and Blue summer will begin. First on Wednesday, the boys are back with season 2 of Tap Out. Then it's Muay Thai. That premieres here on Versus. And on August the 3rd, 3 champions put their belts on the line. A night of live world extreme cage fighting from Vegas. That's Versus Red, White, Black and Blue summer. It rolls on July 30. Well, as we span the chateaus again by helicopter, remember, all the big riders are still to start in this year's time trial. The one that will decide, because for sure the man that takes the yellow jersey away from here will be the winner tomorrow in Paris. That's where we all start with the big names. George Hincapie, 8:56 Eastern Time. Van der Velde quaking in his shoes at about 10:10. He goes at 10:11. Denny Menchoff at 10:14, just behind him. Cadel Evans just behind Menchoff, 10:17. These are all 3-minute gaps between these riders in the hope they won't catch each other. And so the last man to go, of course, Carlos Sastre. He's the sweeper in yellow, but will he be in yellow by the end of the day? Well, as we look over the beautiful villages which abound on the route today, as the riders make their way towards the finish, the sun is actually breaking through, and I must say this morning it didn't look like it was going to, Paul. I'm awfully glad it has.
Getting into the start gate now, one of my favourite bike riders alongside Eric Zabel would have to be this man. Where's number 19? Big Jens Voigt. He's had a quiet Tour de France, but every time he's come to the front, it's been for a reason, and the reason is to put Team CSC and Carlos Sastre on the top of the leaderboard. But Jens Voigt will try hard in this time trial as well. He had a top 10 finish, Phil, in the last time trial. And it's important for Team CSC, I think, to try and win the team classification today as well, because the only team challenging them, AG2R, is within 9 minutes, and you could lose that quite easily in a time trial.
We've never seen such an annihilation of the teams, and remember, this team is designed to beat one man, Cadel Evans, and they've really worked him over these 3 weeks of the Tour de France, but they haven't finished him off, and they know they may have fallen short. But they're racing also for the team award. That's why they have the yellow numbers. And the third team in the race is more than 1 hour behind Team CSC. It's the sort of gaps I can't recall in modern times.
No, I can't at all. It really is a sincere domination by this team, who've been built just this year to come to the Tour de France and to try, as you said, Phil, annihilate Cadel Evans. They put him under pressure on a large number of occasions. I'm not sure whether or not they've got themselves enough time, though, to win the Tour de France overall. There's a new best time at 47.5 kilometers, and that's David Miller, who just went there, and he's the first rider, Phil, to go through that time check inside of 1 hour.
He's actually getting better as the roads get longer, David Miller. He came through the first check in 3rd place. He's come up into 2nd at the 2nd check. He's now the best time at the moment, but of course Cancellara is still to ride through there and will probably knock David Miller off the best time. But the British former time trial champion, or current time trial champion, is going to come in probably with the best time when he arrives.
Yes, I expect he will, but that depends on whether or not he gets caught and passed by Fabian Cancellara, who's already taken a minute back at the second time check on David Miller, and he started 2 minutes behind Miller at the start of the day. So that could be a rather interesting battlefield over the last 10 kilometers. And in fact, there you go, because Fabian Cancellara has just gone through the 3rd time check there with the best time, 58.26, but he's not actually opening up the gaps that much as he was earlier on David Miller.
You're right, he's only gained 7 seconds on Miller between the 2 time checks, which the second is at 36 kilometres and the third is 11.5 kilometres later, and on that section he's only gained 7 seconds, so Miller is getting quicker as the race gets longer.
Yeah, the important thing about this time trial, and as I say, I spoke to a number of riders before the start, Phil, and they said it's very important to dose your effort over a time trial like today, because the last few kilometres you're coming into an almost block headwind, and that's going to make it very difficult, especially if you start to weaken and you don't keep a little bit in reserve.
Well, as the riders head towards the department of the Cher now, which is the river here, which runs through the valley, that we're heading there. We're waiting now for the start of George Hincapie. He will go local time here at 4 minutes to 2 o'clock, and waiting for the cameras hopefully to swing down there as we're watching Jens Voigt in action here. Familiar style. This boy has been an absolute star yet again in the Tour de France, and he's ridden. He said at the start of the Tour, I do no sillier breakaways this year. I am here to help my team win the yellow jersey in Paris. And he's been absolutely true to his word. He's ridden purely for the team. And at the moment, the plan is all working out. Now there is Jens Voigt. We're waiting for the start now. George, oh, and there he is in the start house. Big George completing yet another Tour de France. His 13th, puts him up amongst the top boys here as he now takes a deep breath, ready to go. Well, the pink world of George Hincapie there as he stares out down the straight here in Cérilly, which is famous for its cow's cheese, which it makes here, and it usually flavours it with things like peaches and walnuts and all those sort of things. He's down the ramp and he's on his way. Bandages, the scars of war for George Hincapie. He fell on the descent of the Col de Galibier a couple of days ago. Look at this, Paul. Velic is not riding as well as we expected at 36 kilometres. This is Peter Velic, but nonetheless, another young man finishing his first Tour de France strongly.
Another youngster, Phil, 22 years of age, 18th best time for Peter Velic at that point. Don't forget, though, he's the reigning under-23 World Road Racing Champion, and I have to say that the great thing about the Tour de France this year is it really is a tour of renaissance. There's so many young riders coming up. 21-year-old John-Lee Augustin from South Africa, 22-year-old Peter Velic. It's all, Phil, I think, about the new era of cycling which is coming through, and there are so many great young stars on the horizon.
Well, I think if I was Carlos Sastre or Cadel Evans, I want to get my Tour de France victory in this year, because next year there's people like Roman Kreuziger as well who are coming good. There's so many young riders who are showing the ability, but this is David Miller with his head down, drives home, and I think we might see a best time from him, and then we'll see what Cancellara can do, because Sebastian Lang is in 1:06.09. Miller is way ahead. He's eaten the time of Lang here. This is a great return. He said he's enjoyed his Tour de France. This is the indication. He is finishing on song here. He's gritting his teeth as Miller comes up to the line. Look at that. He can see the time. Number one, 42-second beating, 1:05.27.
Yes, and look at the time, the average speed anyway, 48.6 kilometres an hour. That just goes to show you how fast this course is around here. We're back here looking onto the shoulder of Jens Voigt. This is the kind of course I think that will suit Jens Voigt this afternoon. There's not a lot of good rolling. Here's Fabian Cancellara, and this is going to be the new time.
Well, he started 2 minutes behind Miller. He's right up in the home straight here. We're going to look here at possibly a long 1 hour, 3 minute. No, it's going to be a 1:04, but the world time trial champion, see the bands on the sleeves of a world champion. He comes up to the line. This man has come out of the Tour de France as strong as ever, and everybody thought he'd given all his strength to his team. Best time, and that might be the winning time, 1:04.11.
Well, that was a 1:15 beating of David Miller. You may well be looking here at the Olympic medalist, at the gold medalist in the individual time trial as well. He's been 2 times champion of the world in the individual time trial. He wasn't messing around this afternoon when he came out, was he, Phil? He wanted this victory. And I suppose when you think of the number of kilometres he spent on the front of the main field this year, he deserves the win. But there are so many big names coming out towards the end. There's a lot of men would want to win this time trial to finish it off.
Well, as Christian van der Velde has told us, he's not worried about what time Fabian Cancellara does. There's David Miller, barely had he finished, and Cancellara was up behind him with best time. We'll see in a moment.
Kenda Tires is giving cycling fans the chance of a lifetime with the Kenda Fantasy Cycling Challenge. Pick your riders, watch the tour, and you could win a trip to the 2009 Tour de France. Kenda, the #1 bicycle tire in North America, also offers high-quality passenger tires and light truck tires that are both reliable and affordable, which is why so many people trust Kenda tires, no matter what they're driving. For more information about Kenda tires and to find a dealer near you, visit KendaTiresUSA.com. Kenda Tires, performance-minded, value-conscious.
What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. Yeah, I'm gonna try with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends, with a little help from my friends.
At Hampton, we love having you here.
Nivea for Men body wash, huh? Dude, who uses a body wash to get clean?
If the babes can't smell from here, I'm not interested. And the name is gonna dominate. I dominate.
This won't increase my ability to mate.
They need to feel me, they need to hear me, they need to see me. Above all, they gotta smell me, you know? They need to be attracted somehow.
Doesn't dry your skin, doesn't reek. Isn't that the point?
Finally, a body wash for grown-ups. New Nivea for Men body wash has a fresh, subtle scent and is good for your skin. Works for me. Nivea for Men, what men want.
Switch to Valvoline's Max Life, and there's no telling how long your car will keep going.
Sweet.
Max Life not only protects against friction, but also leaks, deposits, and sludge, the 4 major causes of high-mileage engine breakdown. Drive it forever.
This is their life now, and it's ending one blow at a time. History welcomes you to the club. Here, there's no tapping out. Here, everyone must always fight. And there's only one rule: survive. Jurassic Fight Club. For more info, go to history.com.
Pushing yourself to the edge has never tasted so good. Try new Power Bar Energized Fruit Smoothie in 3 great flavors: creamy citrus, berry blast, and tangy tropical. Rich smoothie taste. Power Bar. Power to push.
For the first time on American television, centuries in the making, they fight for honor, for country, for survival. 16 warriors, one goal: to become the greatest Muay Thai fighter of all time. From the creator of Survivor, The Contender Muay Thai premieres Thursday at 10 on Versus.
Well, the situation here in the time trial, Fabian Cancellara just finished, best time so far, 1 hour 4:11. Miller is second at 1:5:27. Sebastian Lang is third. That is the situation. Well, of course, all the bikes they use here are very special, but one of the very special time trial bikes that has won many time trials in the Tour is the Trek Equinox.
Over the years, Trek has had great success in the Grand Tours. This Equinox TTX is an exact replica of the time trial bike Alberto Contador used to win his 2008 Giro d'Italia. Now, Trek has spent a lot of time, energy, and money really making this bicycle fast. They spent hours in the wind tunnel creating these mated surfaces, basically allowing the wind to flow over rather than into the open holes on the bicycle. This hourglass shape, this integrated headset, and these internally routed cables gives the front end of this bicycle a great presentation to the wind. These wide stance forks reduces turbulence or low pressure between the wheel and the fork blade. This seat mast tube is really neat. Basically, you can have 2 different frame angles by rotating the seat mast forward or backwards. A 72 degree, which is a much more relaxed position like a road bike, or a 79 degree, which is a very steep, aggressive position, just by a flip of the seat mast tube. It's also very convenient. You can take the seat mast tube out and travel with it. The latest revision of the TTX has been the stiffness they've added to the bottom bracket as well as the front end. They haven't sacrificed any weight, nor have they sacrificed aerodynamics. They've simply used lighter carbon to stiffen this area up to create better power transfer as well as way better handling characteristics. Whether you're doing a sprint distance triathlon, a season of Ironman events, or your local time trial, the Trek Equinox TTX delivers both speed and efficiency.
Well, what a great bike that is. Let's go down to the start house here. This is Pierrick Fedrigo just making his departure at 3 minutes in the afternoon here in Cérilly. The line 32nd overall in the Tour de France, which means 31 riders to go in front of him. And at the very end, Carlos Sastre will chase everybody down the highway. There's a huge crowd around it. Our cameras will see more of that once our mobile cameras are able to get out on course as we leave here the narrow streets of Cérilly. The next man to go will be Dimitri Fofanov, and I beg your pardon. The next man to go will be Martino Buscagin, the time trial expert from Italy. We're back here with Jens Voigt at the moment. There's Voigt's situation, checked through at 18 kilometers. Not a particularly fast time for Jens, a little bit off the pace there. Well, as we look at the sky staying blue, let's hope it stays that way. The big boys are getting closer to their start times.
Well, it might surprise a lot of people that ExxonMobil would be interested in lithium-ion battery technology applied to hybrid electric vehicles. Our new battery separator film is a true breakthrough that's going to enable the deployment of more hybrid vehicles faster. This means a tremendous reduction in greenhouse gases, the equivalent of removing millions of cars from the road. I think this is the most important project that I've worked on in my career.
That's the turbo kicking in.
Got power.
Andy, it's great gas mileage.
Excellent.
Take it easy.
This thing's a rocket.
Phil?
When is this event going to be over?
Soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
An event like this can get a little out of hand. The Autobahn for All summer event. Get 0% APR on all 08 models. It's what the people want.
When I used to feast like this, I would have a troupe of minstrels to serenade me. Those were great times.
Alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast me off discourteously.
Green sleeves was all my joy. Green sleeves was my delight. They're hitting the road and looking for a fight, searching for the next MMA badass. Tap Out's back, Wednesday at 10 on Versus.
You're not a true champion until you can defend that belt.
I'm the guy that everybody wants to beat.
Got a car to sell?
Go to VHIX.com.
Millions of people go to VHIX.com looking for a car.
I would never do a newspaper classified again.
The best part is it's free.
Absolutely free.
All you do is you upload a picture.
You put in a few facts about your car.
Then someone searches for a used car like yours.
Bingo, there's your car.
Pops up in their search results.
And it's free.
How can you beat that? This is the best way to sell a car.
List your used car for free and reach millions of car buyers at VHIX.com, your online resource to find your ride. Dealer inventories are now searchable at VHIX.com on your mobile phone.
Buying a car is a big decision.
You need some advice.
That is why VHIX.com is so great. Check out the Power Circle ratings for any kind of vehicle.
JDPower.com, Power Circle ratings.
Anything that you want to know about a vehicle.
Mechanical quality, the performance.
Design quality, powertrain quality.
You're gonna get the right car.
All this great information right on VHIX.com.
Use JDPower.com Power Circle ratings to rank vehicles you're interested in at VHIX.com, your online resource to find your ride. Search our online inventory. Thousands of vehicles are added weekly.
Welcome back. Well, these are the start times we're waiting to see at the moment. Kim Kirken goes at 9:56. He's a good time trial rider. Remember, he was wearing the green jersey last time when we were on day 4 of the Tour de France. Van der Velde goes at 10:11. Menchoff, Evans, Cole, Schleck and Sastre. It'll be interesting whether Evans can reclaim that minute 34 off Carlos Sastre. Back to the face of Jens Voigt here as he charges along 18 kilometers. He's waiting for the check there. The best time through at 18 kilometers at the moment is 21:30, the time of Cancellara. Up at the home straight here. Here comes Sylvain Chavanel. Well, he's held on here. He's just going to get, I think he might be falling behind the time of Chris Froome. He is, Paul. So he has found the going a bit tough towards the last 3 quarters of the race.
It's not surprising, Phil, being in a breakaway as he was yesterday on his way to an individual stage victory was not exactly the best way to prepare for the time trial. I think he'll be happy with 6th place in the time trial here. He's lost himself around about the 3-minute mark. But more importantly, Phil, I think he was extremely emotional yesterday with that stage victory that he got, because he's looked for a stage win in the Tour de France for 8 years.
He started off quickly. He still is in 2nd place at the first check behind Cancellara, but after that he faded pretty rapidly. So he dropped to 5th at the 2nd check and now off the leaderboard at the 3rd check. So he's finished there behind Chris Froome of Kenya. And Jens Voigt continues to punch these pedals and ride his own style to the 18-kilometer check. Just not too far away from that 18-kilometer check. The time of Cancellara, 21:30. Second here is still Chavanel at 22:11. Miller was in 3rd here, still at 22:13. Danny Pate still holds 5th fastest time at 22:17. But of course, these are the hors d'oeuvres, aren't they? Don't forget, versus.com/flight to the finish. Play our Saab Watch and Win sweepstakes. Big prize, including a Saab 9.3 Sport Combi. The word you need today is time trial. Just on the picture here to Pierrick Fedrigo, settling in nicely. Early days for him. He's not long out of the start house. And he's heading for the 18-kilometer check, first check. He's not very far, and he's only 6 kilometers into his ride there. No changes on the leaderboard, and I have a feeling we may not see a challenge to Cancellara's time. And if we do, that really will set the race on fire, because if those boys at the end are that strong to challenge the world champions' time, this race could turn upside down. Big moments for somebody like a good time trial rider like Christian van der Velde, who has said he doesn't care what Fabian does because it won't affect his position in the Tour de France. He will be very interested, though, in what Menchoff, Evans, Cole, Schleck and Sastre do.
Well, I have to admit, Christian van der Velde, Phil, I think he said himself earlier on, was he's never really had the same motivation riding the final time trial of the Tour de France.
Right.
If you're riding for a high position in the overall classification, there's an added motivation, and that's why I think Carlos Sastre is going to do a pretty phenomenal ride here this afternoon. Christian van der Velde knows with a special performance today, he could actually get himself onto the podium in Paris. It's a tall order. He's looking for an awful lot of time, but he's not looking for much time over riders like Schleck and Cole.
This is David Arroyo, who we've seen on occasions in breakaways. He's no stranger to the Tour de France, but he hasn't excelled either as an individual road race star in the past. But anyway, he's not a great time trial rider, but he's coming to the start line here. 118th of the 145 riders to leave the house today. There's the countdown. A few deep breaths, and you're on your way. So Arroyo is gone now. Behind Arroyo, by the way, they're still going at 2-minute intervals, will be Cyril Dessel, who got his stage win into Josier. Our second big road race stage in the Alps, where I really feel George Hincapie would have won there, but unfortunately he let the leaders go at the top of the last climb by just a little bit too far, and he couldn't catch them on the way down the Col de la Bonnette. So as we watch David Royo course the streets of Cérilly, we'll take a break. Will anybody challenge this man's time? Does anybody care? This is a race for yellow now. We'll take a break.
For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. Turning repetition into joy. The efficient performance of the Saab Turbo.
Joey came up with some new bottle designs. Okay, this one says, I appreciate art. And this one says, you're an unselfish lover. And this one says... You're fired.
In a world gone soft, someone's got to be hard. Mike's Hard Lemonade.
I get out and I ride with my buddies every weekend, you know.
we go out and get after it. Like today, we hit one section when everyone stopped, second guessed it, and I just kept going. Rock here, rock there. I just got a handful, and there she went.
True all-wheel drive, new active descent control, legendary ride and handling. Polaris, the world's toughest ATVs.
Polaris Power Play sales event. Get to your participating dealer for up to $800 in rebates and as low as 3.99% APR on select ATVs.
Harold and Kumar's newest adventure.
Neil? Bigger, bigger, bigger. Hello.
Can be described in one word.
What's the?
Unrated. Harold and Kumar escape from Guantanamo Bay. Buy it Tuesday on unrated Blu-ray and DVD.
Gillette. The people who know men best. Introduce Gillette High Performance Shampoo. Engineered with charged cleansers that attract dirt and oil. Empower them away for a charged clean that lasts all day. New Gillette High Performance Shampoo. Take charge of your hair.
When your engine's running clean, you feel it. And Pennzoil Platinum Motor Oil can clean out up to 46% of sludge in the first oil change. Our ultimate clean for your ultimate feeling. Not just oil, Pennzoil.
2002 was my first tour. I definitely remember the feeling I had when we swung onto the Champs-Élysées on the last stage for the first time. There's millions of people there lining the streets. I got goosebumps. I've done the tour 5 times, and every time on the Champs-Élysées, it's a great feeling.
Well, we've seen an awful lot of Stefan Schumacher rather, since he won that Stage 4 time trial, which was a big surprise, but he's been worthy of it throughout. A great tour for him. He'll be next to lead the start house as we are back here with Rodrigo. As the Frenchman pounds a lonely furrow here. We're getting down shortly to the riders who will start at 3-minute intervals. All of the last 20 riders in the race. And just getting himself into a nice rhythm here. Well, as we watch here, the riders continue to make their own way along the road. We're waiting now, Paul, for the start of Stefan Schumacher, who was a surprise, but not to everybody. 1 or 2 people actually predicted he would win that time trial on Stage 4.
And one of those was Lance Armstrong's former team manager, Johan Brunel. Jens Voigt, Phil, just went through the first time check in 13th place, 1 minute and 15 seconds behind his team leader, Fabian Cancellara. It will be interesting to see how Schumacher can perform here, Phil, in the individual time trial, because he did say at the start this morning that he felt he had the form left to get himself a victory, and maybe he will be the man to upset the overall leaderboard.
Well, shortly we'll be going to the start house, and at the moment there we are, and I think that Stefan Schumacher has been stretching himself in the start house and getting himself quite ready. He's obviously in the mood to do a good time again. A stage win is a stage win in the Tour de France. He's been ultra aggressive in the mountains. We've seen him cross the cols and ride very, very well. Now it's up to him to do and confirm, I guess, what he did over that 29 kilometers in Cholet, which seems like last year, but was in fact Stage 4 of this year's Tour de France.
Seems like a long time ago, but Stefan Schumacher is a class act. He's won big one-day races, and here he's trying to see if he can win this 53-kilometer individual time trial. The advantage he's got, Phil, if you can say it is an advantage, is that he will know what the time splits are of Fabian Cancellara.
Well, he's had 2 time trial victories to his credit this year. The only 2 wins he's had, he won the 4th stage of a race in Germany, the Bayern-Rundfahrt, which was a time trial, and he won the 4th stage of the Tour de France at Cholet. As he dashes down the streets now, he's got a total of 31 career wins, and the vast majority of those are time trials, but he has won the Amstel Gold Race as well. This is the scene at the finish as the riders race straight towards our camera here, and that is the situation in the finish line. Cancellara ahead of Miller, Lang, Danny Pate still well up the leaderboard and smiling at last, which is great for everybody. That typifies Garmin Chipotle, I think. We'll take another break.
A lot of choices, huh?
Tell me about it.
Because you want a beer that's not too heavy.
Yeah?
But you don't want to compromise on taste, so.
No, I don't.
Just want that perfect balance.
Budweiser. Oh, thanks, man. You know, they ought to pay you.
Steer to help.
You look so fine that I really want to make you mine.
532, 533, 530.
Crazy times call for crazy fun. Enter the Ultimate Vegas Escape Sweepstakes at visitlasvegas.com.
Nivea for men body wash, huh? Dude, who uses a body wash to get clean?
If the babes can't smell from here, I'm not interested. And the name is gonna dominate. I dominate.
This won't increase my ability to mate.
They need to feel me, they need to hear me, they need to see me. Above all, they gotta smell me, you know? They need to be attracted somehow.
Doesn't dry your skin, doesn't reek. Isn't that the point?
Finally, a body wash for grown-ups. New Nivea for Men body wash has a fresh, subtle scent and is good for your skin.
Works for me.
Nivea for Men, what men want.
You're not a true champion until you can defend that belt.
I'm the guy that everybody wants to beat.
Buying a car is a big decision.
You need some advice.
That is why VHIX.com is so great. Check out the Power Circle ratings for any kind of vehicle.
JDPower.com, Power Circle ratings.
Anything that you want to know about a vehicle.
Mechanical quality.
The performance.
Design quality, powertrain quality.
You're gonna get the right car.
All this great information right on VHIX.com.
Use JDPower.com Power Circle ratings to rank vehicles you're interested in at VHIX.com, your online resource to find your ride. Search our online inventory. Thousands of vehicles are added weekly.
A healthy lifestyle begins before you even get out of bed. It begins with the Doctor's Choice mattress, the perfect combination of support and comfort. In fact, I've recommended it to my patients.
Visit our store or website and discover all the benefits of Doctor's Choice by Denver Mattress.
On the road and looking for a fight, searching for the next MMA badass. Tap Out's back, Wednesday at 10 on Versus.
Welcome back. These are the standings at the moment in the finish house, and Garmin Chipotle's David Miller is there in second place, and Garmin Chipotle's Danny Pate sits in fourth. Miller's enjoyed his Tour de France, and I think we might find that out now as we talk with him with Robbie Ventura.
David, since the last time trial, you've been racing completely supportive Christian, flying a little bit underneath the radar, but today, another strong performance in the time trial. How would you describe your race today?
I mean, I'm satisfied with it, considering how I've been feeling the last couple of weeks. I've been in a never decreasing state of form, and I fortunately, having Christian going so well and being such a great leader, it's kind of inspired me to raise what little game I have and be at his side when I can, yeah, no, I mean, at least I was able to shine a little bit today, but still, it's been a bit of a hard couple of weeks.
What are some of the issues that you've been going through these last couple of weeks? Can you go into some detail?
It's just a case of fatigue, I think, gross fatigue. I mean, I've just been getting, it's like I'm losing cylinders on a daily basis. I've gone from a V12 to like a 2CV. It's been hard work, and it's been I mean, thankfully, like I said, we've got Christian and we've got all the boys and we've got a great team of people, and I love being with my team. Otherwise, it would have been a miserable experience.
You know Christian's strengths. How does this TT set up for him, and what advice do you have for him before he starts?
There's very little advice I can give Christian. I mean, me and him have got the same experience, and But I think that seeing in these last few days and seeing that the man and rider he's been becoming these last 3 weeks, I honestly do believe he's capable of winning today. And I, in my heart, I think he can get podium still. I really do. So I'm going to be watching with bated breath.
Thanks, David.
Well, that's fantastic news, isn't it? David Miller there is now very much in support of his team leader, Christian van der Velde, having a magical tour, whatever happens today. He'd never look back on a bad Tour de France. Ivan Gutierrez coming in there, final finish, 28th position for him. Not such a good ride, but no reason to race harder. Well, back out on course with David Arroyo from the Case de Pon. When the Case de Pon team started, Paul, after day one, when Alejandro Valverde won that stage, we thought they were going to rip this race apart, and I think they should never have taken on the responsibility so early.
No, I think that really blew them apart, and all of us, we were all very scared when we saw the dominance of Alejandro Valverde on stage one. We thought, well, that's it, he's going to win the Tour de France. But we always get caught out by the fact that it is a 3-week bike race, and it's very important to dose your effort over the whole of the 3 weeks. Make sure you've got energy for the Pyrenees and for the Alps, and of course for the final time trial too.
Just looking at Boussaïgin, he hasn't got there yet to the 18-kilometre point. Mourenhout's just gone through ahead of him, 19th best time, 1:24. No one is looking like approaching this man's time yet, but the top 20 riders are getting ready to start their departure.
Honey, if you want to get rid of your gray hair, try my hair color. It's really easy.
Women's hair color can take 30 minutes. Just for men takes 5 minutes.
No one will notice.
Hers colors every hair. Just for men targets only gray.
It has ammonia, but it doesn't smell that bad.
Oh yes, it does. Just for men has no damaging ammonia.
Let's go buy some. It'll only take half an hour.
Yeah, right. The truth is, men need Just for Men. Stay in the game.
Remember when times were simpler? When your favorite park didn't have a theme? When you spent hours waiting for a moment? And when the old way was the best way? Now at Bass Pro Shops, get a free weekend adventure guide full of ideas for low-cost family getaways. You can also enjoy free laser arcade games, prizes, and workshops. Plus, check out the store and boat sidewalk clearance sale. Your adventure starts here for less than you think.
Hey, everyone. Hey, I'm here to talk to you about 2 ways to save money. 1, by driving fuel-efficient cars, and 2, to let you know the 2008 Honda clearance is going on right now. Honda prides itself on building fuel-efficient cars and was named America's greenest automaker. So get out there and spread the word. The 2008 Honda clearance. And for some deals that can save you some green, go to shophonda.com. I'm Mr. Opportunity, and I approve this message.
Start your engine.
Before you go back to school, make sure you see the scariest product placement movie of the summer. Instinct, only from Sprint. Featuring lightning-fast internet, starring killer texting, and with special guest voice-cued GPS navigation.
Find 125 Lake Drive.
Turn right 2 miles.
Going back to school? Get the new Samsung Instinct, now playing for just $129.99, only on the Now Network. Visit InstinctThePhone.com.
For the first time on American television, centuries in the making, they fight for honor, for country, for survival. 16 warriors, one goal, to become the greatest Muay Thai fighter of all time. From the creator of Survivor, The Contender Muay Thai, premieres Thursday at 10 on Versus.
Well, tomorrow we finish it all off in Paris. Don't forget, our live coverage of the Tour de France will conclude with stage 21. It's the final day at 7:30 Eastern Time tomorrow. From a Domp to the Champs, it all concludes when we crown the champion, and we still don't know who that will be. And if you do miss any of today's action, catch the enhanced prime time tonight at 8 Eastern. Warming up now, the rider who sits in a podium position but hates riding a time trial, Bernard Cole, the chimney sweep. Let's not forget the first man to win this race, Maurice Guérin, in 1903, was also a chimney sweep. Maybe that'll be an omen for him. This is when the big names start, and we've started the 3-minute time gaps now, by the way. Kim Kirken, Christian van der Velde goes 11 minutes past 10. These are Eastern times. 10:17. Evan Sastre goes at 10:26. Well, Christian van der Velde, he is a man who is going to go. Garmin have their own plan as to how to help Christian van der Velde. Here's more on that with Robbie Ventura.
One of the reasons Team Garmin-Chipotle has had such great success in time trials this season has been their use of technology. Dr. Alan Lim, along with Pearl Izumi, have come up with a secret weapon. It's called the ice vest. It's a pretty simple cloth vest, but on the inside it has these pockets where they put ice packets in, and they completely submerge this thing in freezing cold water. This helps keep the athlete's core temperature cool as they warm up their legs. The next thing we have here is the speed suit, also developed by Alan and Pearl Izumi. This thing is unbelievably tight. It actually fits me. Once the riders manage to get themselves inside it and they get in that aerodynamic position, it's the fastest suit out there, completely wrinkle-free. The next thing we have here is the power tap disc. This thing is really slick. It allows the athletes to get the advantage of a disc wheel in terms of the aerodynamics, but they also get to see their power tap data when they're riding out there to optimize their pacing strategy. Then we have this beautiful trainer. It's a Jet Fluid Pro by Cyclops. The cool thing about this is this load generator. They switch it out based on the athlete's power. If they're really, really big and strong, they have a different power curve, and it gives perfect road feel. All of these things, along with a lot of hard work, will hopefully keep Garmin-Chipotle at the top of the heap in the race against the clock.
Well, it's paying off at the moment, Robbie, because Danny Pate and David Miller are occupying the top of the leaderboard here. Pate sits fourth, Miller sits second, and of course Christian van der Velde. What will he do? Will he climb onto the podium, as David Miller suggested he really believes he can do? He'll be getting ready to start soon. The bobbing shoulders here of Cyril Dessel, who's riding for AG2R. Let's not forget, Paul, he needs a good time here to keep his team a challenger in the team race. They're the only team that are showing a respectable deficit to Team CSE. Here's George at 25k to go.
Well, he recorded the 6th fastest time at the first time check. He was 51 seconds down on Fabian Cancellara. That's an indication, Phil, that George Hincapie is coming out of this Tour de France in pretty fine form. He looks strong. He's rock solid in the middle of those handlebars. The idea of those handlebars at the front, by the way, is to make the front part of the body as aerodynamic as possible. And as you can see, Hincapie's arms are right in the middle there. The gear changes will be on the end of those small extensions, allowing the rider to change gears without actually having to change his position.
Well, he's doing a very good time at 25 to go. He'll be about 2 kilometers away from the second check at Charenton, and he's going to be right up amongst it. This is now Schumacher still out there, that famous number 111 we've seen a lot of. He's heading towards the 18-kilometer check. 21:30 would be a great time if he got it, because Fabian Cancellara has it. This is Vincenzo Nibali now. He is the 19th rider overall. He wore the white jersey as best newcomer. It's gone over to Andy Schleck now, and he ranks 4th in that competition, I think, just at the moment. He gets the countdown at 15:32 precisely here in France. He's on his way, and now everybody leaves that start house at 3-minute intervals as we gradually move down to the 6 riders who we think will continue to fight out the Tour de France for final yellow. See you in a moment.
At Mike's Hard Lemonade, we have lots of good ideas, like coming up with the perfect combination of lemonade and alcohol. Or Mike's Hard Light Lemonade. Or, check this out, Mike's Hard Double Caffeinated Soy Lemonade.
Joey, what you got there?
The little idea I came up with.
We don't do soy, okay?
We don't do soy.
In a world gone soft, someone's got to be hard. Mike's Hard Lemonade.
For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it, turning repetition into joy. The efficient performance of the Saab Turbo.
Domestique literally means servant. Christian Van de Velde was a domestique. He served Lance Armstrong for 5 years. Now, he's serving notice.
Saving energy at home is simple. Here are some steps you can take each day as you leave your home. Turn it down. Unplug it. Turn it off. Yes, it's a CFL. Take a ride. Share a ride.
Or ride.
The new energy economy, helping you save energy at home. Learn more at colorado.gov/energy.
At the 5th Annual Aspen Snowmass Ride for the Cure, Komen Aspen invites you to choose your challenge of either a 100, 60, 30, or 10-mile ride through the beautiful Rocky Mountains. Registration for the Aspen Snowmass Ride for the Cure on September 6th includes meals, a jersey, and a finish line party with fun activities for the whole family. For more information, fundraising, and training tips, call the Ride Hotline or visit the website.
Television first. From the creator of Survivor, The Contender Muay Thai. Premieres Thursday at 10 on Versus.
When you're Hendrick Motorsports, every race is a battle fought with Q Motor Oil technology. Get the Q horsepower specially designed for your car. Unleash all your horses.
Oh, he's not a terrorist. He's just an idiot.
No rights.
North Korea and Al-Qaeda working together.
And no pants.
What's up with this party? I'm starting the bottomless trend.
Harold and Kumar escape from Guantanamo Bay.
Drink it in.
Buy it Tuesday on unrated Blu-ray and DVD.
Hi, welcome to Progressive.com. How can I help you? Well, I haven't shopped for car insurance in a while. And you're worried that you've been paying too much, right? Yeah. So how can I know I'm getting a good deal? We can compare your Progressive Direct rate with other top companies. Wow. Seriously? Yeah. Look at the deal we just got him. That's a new pair of shoes. Yeah, or a big tricked out name tag.
Making sure you get a great deal. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
Welcome back. There are still 17 riders to start, but the story so far is Sebastian Lang came in with the best time. He slipped a little bit now, but he set the standard when he got on top of Danny Pate, who was the early leader today, and he hasn't slipped too far away, by the way. Danny Pate's teammate, David Miller, found his time trialing legs again because he now sits in second place, comes home with a time of 65 minutes and 27 seconds. For Fabian Cancellara, the world champion, inspired by the fact he wears the colours of a world champion, has scorched around this course today. He's finished with a time of 64 minutes and 11 seconds, and at the moment no one is remotely approaching that time at any of the checks. So that's how it stands. Danny Pate and Hejidal also delivered a great blow there for the other American team. Let's go now to Frankie Andre. He is with fabulous Cancellara.
Fabian, you've been having to work to be able to protect the yellow jersey, so you haven't been able to focus on the time trial as much. You started off right away with the fastest time. You pleased with how the ride went today?
Yeah, I had a good feeling, and I think I did a very good performance. I mean, I had David Miller on my front, and was for me for ahead important. I mean, when you start early, then you ride with another motivation that like riders they ride on the finish, ride on the last moment. I mean, Cadel or Schumacher, they will be strong. I mean, they show that they're strong, but I mean, I did everything what was possible. Second last day tomorrow. Hope we can enjoy yellow, but it will be a big battle, and we have to wait and to see.
You did a fantastic ride. The time that you went, is there any information from the course that you'll take back that maybe will help Carlos be able to do a faster ride also?
Yeah, I think. I mean, when the world champion do a good performance and a very well ride, I mean, then he shows that I was good. Because when I look back on Cholet, I had a good feeling, but on the end, I didn't have the power. I didn't have my day. A few things been wrong. today I did completely the opposite way. I was relaxed, calm. I was looking how's the day, and the day was perfect. And now we see, and I hope I can be maybe on the end for the victory of the day.
Congratulations.
Well, we'll just show you now the arrival of Ryder Hesjedal. He just finished a little bit earlier while we're on the commercial break, and it's another great ride by the only Canadian in the race. Currently now sits in 4th place. Boy, there's some good results coming from these 2 American teams here in this Tour de France. Back out on course now. We're looking again at Stefan Schumacher, who is plotting his course. He's not yet arrived at the first check, but he's jolly close now. He's been going 20 minutes and 57 seconds. Cancellara's time here was 21:30, and it's only just up the road this time check. So I think Schumacher is delivering a good ride today, but as we've just heard, and the body knows it, you know. Cancellara knew that today it was all coming out, and he clearly knew in Cholet, where he was a big disappointment, let's face it, it didn't all come out there. But he's a world champion. It looks as though Schumacher is getting up on the rider who started in front of him, which will be Sylvester Schmidt, catching him for 2 minutes. Well, again, a final reminder, Saab Watch and Win sweepstakes. So don't forget versus.com/fly to the finish. Follow all the information there. The code word today you will need is time trial. Big cheers there for Schumacher as he continues now, and he's pulling back Sylvester Smith for 2 minutes at only 18 kilometers of racing. Now that is very, very, and Smith's gone through there, 34th best time, by the way, in 1 minute 55 of Cancellara. So it could be that Schumacher is upsetting the rivalry there, because he's going to be very close to Cancellara's time. We haven't got it yet. We switched away to Charenton-Duchère. Hincapie coming here, and George is getting better and better, but that's age for you, and that's George, as he's now still doing a good time here, but he's slipping away behind the American newcomers. He slots in there in 5th place, so he's just gone ahead of Danny Pate's time there. Well, there's the pass down there, but we're waiting for the time of Schumacher. It hasn't come up on the computer. I haven't seen it go through on the screen. The order at the finish is still Cancellara. Oh, and yes, Schumacher has gone in and he's come up, in fact, 0. He is exactly the same time as Cancellara at the first check. 21 minutes, 30 seconds. Exactly the same time. That is amazing. There's the confirmation. So they're locked together. We've got a race everywhere in this year's Tour de France. Even the world champion. I would love to see the face of Cancellara now when he sees that come up on the television screen here at the finishing line. So, Cancellara is not the automatic winner yet of today's stage of the Tour de France, and we'll take another break. Come back and join us.
She needed to perform one more vault. She needed to sprint down the runway, jump off the springboard, fly spinning through the air, and stick the landing. And she needed to do it all on one foot. Visa, proud sponsor of the Olympic Games, and the only card accepted there.
Oh, that's the torque. I like torque. Andy, it's great gas mileage. Woo! Okay. How fast can this... Hey, Phil.
When is this event gonna be over?
Soon. Thanks, Phil.
Oh boy, this event is going to be trouble.
The Autobahn for All summer event. Get 3 VWs for under $199 a month or 0% APR on all 08 models.
Dude, who uses a body wash to get clean?
This won't increase my ability to mate.
It's gonna make the ladies want to smell me. Just put their nose and just
Finally, a body wash for grown-ups. New Nivea for Men body wash has a fresh, subtle scent and is good for your skin. Works for me. Nivea for Men, what men want.
I get out and I ride with my buddies every weekend, you know. We go out and get after it. Like today, we hit one section when everyone stopped, second-guessed it. I just kept going. rock here, rock there. I just got a handful, and there she went.
True all-wheel drive, new active descent control, legendary ride and handling. Polaris, the world's toughest ATVs. Polaris Power Play sales event. Get to your participating dealer for up to $800 in rebates and as low as 3.99% APR on select ATVs.
Switch to Valvoline's Max Life, and there's no telling how long your car will keep going. Max Life not only protects against friction, but also leaks, deposits, and sludge, the 4 major causes of high-mileage engine breakdown. Drive it forever.
They're hitting the road and looking for a fight, searching for the next MMA badass. Tap Out's back, Wednesday at 10 on Versus.
You're not a true champion until you can defend that belt.
I'm the guy that everybody wants to beat.
The 2008 Tour de France on Versus is brought to you by Shimano, the world's leading manufacturer of bicycle components.
Well, this is the arrival of Thomas Lundqvist here for Team Columbia. Again, a rider who's had a good Tour de France. He was the early white jersey leader. He's only young. He's tired himself a little bit. He's still coming in with a very fast time here, which is going to put him up in the top 4 if he can just sprint the line, which would confirm the time checks. Yes, 1:06.19, 4th place at the moment for Thomas Lundqvist. Team Columbia, of course, 5 stage wins during this Tour de France out of a possible 20 stages. That's amazing, isn't it? So there's the situation. These are the start times of the big men now. We're down to the last 14 to start at the moment. Kirken goes at 9:56 Eastern, 10:11 for Van der Velde, a big moment for Christian. Carlos Sastre, the last man to go, at 10:26. Well, we're down to 14 riders still to start, Paul. Sandy Cassar should be the next out of the start house. We're not always seeing them start, but we're now watching here the man who might be reshaping the time trial, because I think he's marginally, and I mean marginally by hundreds of a second, quicker than Cancellara at the first check.
Well, it's all really very much about how you dose your effort, and you can see the way the flags are here, that this part of the course, they're actually fairly sheltered from the wind. Once they come out into the last 10 kilometers and head right down towards the finish line in Saint-Amand-Montrond, the wind then, Phil, starts to become a little bit of an enemy to the riders.
These are the legs of Stefan Schumacher, the man who surprised in the first time trial. Nobody talked of his name, and he ran out the winner in Cholet on stage 4. He stunned everybody by matching the time of Cancellara at 18 kilometers. And Britain's David Miller is finished with a second best time behind Cancellara. And nobody on the time checks are getting close apart from Schumacher at the moment. Further down the road, or in fact further up the road here, Cyril Dessel, who had his great moment in the Alps. He got his win at Josier when he came off the Col de la Bonnette.
This is the man you were just talking about, Sandy Cassar, the best Frenchman in the overall classification, 14th overall. He's promised for many years to ride a good finish in the Tour de France in the overall standings. A 14th will be one of his better performances, although he has finished in the top 10 in the Giro d'Italia on a number of occasions. Here he's got to ride to stay in the top 15.
So he gets the countdown, and then his ride will begin. His best ever finish in the Tour de France until now is 16th back in 2004. If he confirms in the time trial today, he will have had, as you say, Paul, his best Tour de France.
Well, he had a stage victory in the Tour de France last year, but I suppose one statistic he wouldn't like to be reminded of is the fact that he's finished second on 4 occasions on individual stages of the Tour, and he found that on a number of times a little bit of a bitter pill to chew.
Well, are we watching the man who will again deliver a surprise in the time trial as far as the stage result is concerned? Remember, the boys we're approaching now are the riders who will decide the destiny of the yellow jersey. Schumacher, the way he rides, he really doesn't look as though he's going quick. He's just rock solid on that bike, and he just stays there, no movement in the shoulders. All the power's going down through those big legs of his. Well, we've nailed him this time. He's not going to surprise us with any rides this time. Our cameraman is sticking in there. His teammate Sebastian Lang, he set the trend very early on, don't forget. Then he was followed home by Miller, who finished second so far. And then came Cancellara, still the leader in the finish. We'll take a break.
Joey came up with some new bottle designs.
Okay, this one says, I appreciate art. And this one says, you're an unselfish lover. And this one says...
You're fired.
In a world gone soft, someone's got to be hard. Mike's Hard Lemonade.
For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. Turning repetition into joy. The efficient performance of the Saab Turbo.
What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. Yeah, I'm gonna try with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends, with a little help from my friends.
At Hampton, we love having you here.
The next available representative will be with you in 4 hours, 10 minutes.
Get your identity stolen, you'll spend day after day on the phone getting it back with calls to the bank, credit cards, the Social Security office, and on it goes.
Please continue to hold.
Fortunately, there's Farmers Identity Shield. For just $65 or less per year, your credit is monitored.
Thank you for holding.
Plus, a personal fraud advocate helps make all those calls no matter how long it takes. So make only one now. 1-800-FARMERS.
Got a car to sell?
Go to vehix.com.
Millions of people go to vehix.com looking for a car.
I would never do a newspaper classified again.
The best part is it's free.
Absolutely free. All you do is you upload a picture.
You put in a few facts about your car.
Then someone searches for a used car like yours.
Bingo, there's your car.
Pops up in their search results.
And it's free.
How can you beat that? This is the best way to sell a car.
List your used car for free and reach millions of car buyers at vehix.com, your online resource to find your ride. Watch our buying guides and test drives powered by Wheels TV on Comcast On Demand.
Got a car to sell?
Go to vehix.com.
Millions of people go to vehix.com looking for a car.
I would never do a newspaper classified again.
The best part is it's free.
Absolutely free. All you do is you upload a picture.
You put in a few facts about your car.
Then someone searches for a used car like yours.
Bingo, there's your car.
Pops up in their search results.
And it's free.
How can you beat that? This is the best way to sell a car.
List your used car for free and reach millions of car buyers at vehix.com, your online resource to find your ride. Dealer inventories are now searchable at vehix.com on your mobile phone.
We're back. Don't forget, one last chance to play the Kenda Fantasy Cycling Challenge and get used to next year's edition, because there's still big prizes to be had tomorrow when we go to the Champs-Élysées. All you do is go to versus.com/Kenda. Let's get back down to the action. Oh, we've gone behind the scenes here at the start town of Cérilly, and there is Denis Menchov warming up. It won't be long before he goes, but he'll want to give himself a good half-hour warming up on those rollers, get that body flying and jump onto his bike. He could deliver the blow that could win in the stage. I'm not sure he can deliver the blow that will win. In fact, I'm sure he can't win the Tour de France, but can he get on the podium? Had a little bit of bad luck early on when he lost a few seconds with a crash, and now since then he's cracked a little bit in the mountains, but only cost him seconds. But all those seconds add up, and he starts today 2 minutes and 39 behind Carlos Sastre. 9:56 when Kem Kirken goes. We're not far away from that now, and then Van der Velde goes 11 minutes past the hour. Menchov will go at 14. Back out on course, just having made his start here, is Roman Kreuziger, the Liquigas rider from the Czech Republic and winner of the Tour of Switzerland. He's a long way to go yet before he worries the time at 21:30 of both Fabian Cancellara and indeed Stefan Schumacher. They remain locked at the first check. We're waiting to see what will happen when Schumacher gets through to the second check.
That should be Andy Schleck, the best young rider in the competition, best young rider in the Tour de France, 12th overall. 10 minutes and 4 seconds behind in the overall classification, but that's something he's not too concerned about. He's been a great aid to not only Carlos Sastre, but to his own brother, Frank.
Stop.
Yes, Andy makes his way down the ramp. He's the youngster, not quite 23 years of age. He's on his way now and will try to ride to keep that white jersey today. This is Saint-Amand-Montrond, the arrival of Moncoutier.
Very enigmatic rider. We've seen his teammate Sylvain Chavanel off the front end of the main field, Phil, for over 400 kilometers. And I'd have to say that probably number 188, David Moncoutier, has been at the back end of the race for more than 408 kilometers.
Yes, he's kept his eye, made sure everybody stayed safely in that pack, I think. The start then of Andy Schleck, as I say, he's not quite 23 years of age. He's just 23 years of age before the start of the Tour de France. So he's had a good season. He shared the glory with his brother in the Liège-Bastogne-Liège. They finished almost together. Andy getting the 4th place there. And of course, he shot to form last year in 2007 when he was 2nd overall in the Giro d'Italia. Needless to say, he carried off the white jersey there as well.
Well, at 22 kilometers to go to the finish in Aîné-le-Château, that is Stefan Schumacher, and he's not too far away, Phil, from getting himself up to that next time check. There is the final few moments of preparation for Frank Schleck on the right-hand side in the red, white and blue jersey, champion of Luxembourg. Over to the left-hand side, facing up to the most important time trial of his career, is Carlos Sastre. And I wonder, Phil, what is going through his mind?
Well, he's always looked confident. He's never looked in trouble. His face gives nothing away. And he did exactly what he planned to do, which was attack at the foot of Alpe d'Huez and take as much time as he could get. And he never cracked all the way up. Now, has he got enough time to win the Tour? He's going to tell us all once he gets going, but he's never ridden a time trial in his life as important as this one.
No, he hasn't. As far as I can figure out, he's only ever really in the Tour de France beaten Cadel Evans on one occasion in the time trial, and that was in the first time trial a couple of years ago when Lance Armstrong was beaten by Dave Zabriskie. That's Andy Schleck out on course. And I think Andy Schleck's a rider who very much in the future, Phil, could be regarded as a possible future winner of the Tour de France. But what I've learned from this Tour this year is there are a number of riders who in the next couple of years could be Tour de France winners, riders of 22, 23, 24 years of age. It really has been, I have to say, a very refreshing Tour from that point of view.
They're queuing up to win this race in the years that lie ahead. As we watch Andy here, continues to set the trail. All he'll be thinking now is the white jersey. I've got to keep it. And he knows that Kreuziger is in front of him. Back to the start line, and he's pulled on his national champions jersey of the time trial here, Kim Kirken. Concentration here. He's riding for a high finish in the Tour de France, of course, for Team Columbia. And he knows he can do it. He's had 5 wins this year. The last win he had was the time trial championship of Luxembourg.
Out of the starting gate, he really wants to do a good performance here this afternoon, Phil, because a good ride by him can put him up in the top 10. He's had success in the Tour with the green jersey and the yellow jersey, but to finish it all off and finish inside of the top 10, I think, is one of his serious goals there as he gets away. He was 8 minutes and 35 seconds behind at the start of the day. Just in front of him at 11 seconds is Vladimir Efimkin, and at 25 seconds is Tadej Vladjevic. So he has got the ability this afternoon to jump up into 8th place overall at the end of the stage.
And let's not forget that last year he finished 7th in the Tour de France, and he was really, I think he would have liked to have finished a bit higher than that, but now he's fighting to stay, and he's worn the green jersey. He's also worn the yellow jersey for 4 days. He's underway further up the road, riding 3 minutes ahead of Andy Schleck is Roman Kreuziger. He delivered a great time trial in the Tour de Suisse, but it was a mountain time trial. Very different course to today. He may not have the speed required to make nearly 2 minutes on Schleck to take that white jersey back home to Paris tomorrow.
Kreuziger, on the other hand, is looking for 1 minute and 58 seconds to get that jersey away from Andy Schleck, the best young rider competition. And he's got himself a fairly impressive integrated aerodynamic helmet there. His references in the individual time trial are not that great. This is his first participation in the Tour de France, but let's not forget last year, Phil, he won the white jersey, best young rider competition in the Giro d'Italia, and he finished 2nd overall.
That's right. He looks to me, and our cameras are frozen at the moment because of the tree interference, but it looks to me as though he's actually moving faster than Kreuziger at the moment. Our first check comes at 18 kilometers as we see Eric Zabel head up towards the finishing line here. Well, he was running in the mid-70s at all the checkpoints. That's where he's going to finish today, but that doesn't matter. tomorrow, of course, Zabel will look for a sprint win on the Champs-Élysées. The face of Eric Zabel as he comes home, 76th. He won't worry about that. 1:12 is his final time on the line. Eric Zabel, at 38 years of age, completes yet another Tour de France. He's 14th, I think.
Number 14 when he rolls onto the Champs-Élysées tomorrow. That really is quite impressive. Next man to get into the starting gate. This is going to be Vladimir Efimkin. He's in 10th place in the overall classification, and he knows he's going to have to ride the time trial of his life, Phil, to stay up there in 10th. But here is big Jens Voigt. He's battled his way around this 53 kilometres, and he's going to battle his way into the top 10 again on this stage.
Well, the start, and this is another ride, another good ride for the team support by Voigt. 7th place for him. That'll keep them way clear in the team race for Paris tomorrow, as Vladimir Efimkin, riding his first Tour de France and sitting in 10th place, gets down that ramp. Remember, because of the disqualification of Ricardo Rico in Bagno de Bigorre, he actually has won a stage as well. That's, of course, if they do confirm Rico at the second test analysis for that EPO positive. He's underway now, and we're running into the last 9 riders to go. He's had a superb Tour de France.
This is the shoulders we're looking down on of Andy Schleck. 12th overall in the classification, but for him the big battle is to try and get himself the white jersey, Phil, at the end of the day. Well, just to confirm now, it's not going to be very long before Cadel Evans comes out to start. It's coming up to 4 o'clock in the afternoon here in France. Cadel Evans will be starting at 17 minutes past 4, and Carlos Sastre at 26 minutes past 4. And 18 kilometres after that, Phil, we'll get our first indication as how this race is going to pan out.
This is the situation at the moment. Finished these riders, of course. Cancellara, the world champion, 1:16 ahead of Britain's David Miller. 1:58 on Sebastian Lang, 2:08. These are world championship time gaps, I have to say. But there is a challenge out on course. We're waiting now to see Schumacher get to the second check, because at the first one, he equalled the time there of Cancellara.
Yes, I'm pretty happy to see up at the finish line there, Phil, Chris Froome in 8th place. That's pretty impressive for a young man riding the Tour de France for his first participation. And having dragged himself through the bodies, it's great to see they've got some very good young talent. Now, this is the first time check, second time check.
Cancellara, what, 42.38, and he's gone through, he's dropped a little bit, and Miller, and he's gone behind Miller. He might have started too quick here. Well, no, he's quite a lot, sorry, 42.47, so he's going to stay in second place, but he hasn't had a good second 18 kilometres here. He's dropped 12 seconds to Cancellara.
Well, Phil, it's all about dosing your effort. That face there is a face that reflects the pain that he's going through here this afternoon, and he knows how hard it is to ride a time trial, and he knows how hard it is to match the times of Fabian Cancellara, because Cancellara is the expert. He's the master of the race against the clock. But Andy Schleck, actually, for a young man who's great in the climbs, also looks fairly comfortable on his machine. Nice and stretched out, very Longines, maybe not quite so aerodynamic because he's sitting up quite a bit, but that's a position that over the next couple of years I'm sure he will be able to change to get himself that little bit more penetration in the air.
He looks like a very good track pursuiter there. He keeps sliding onto the nose of that saddle and pushing himself back and starting all over again. He's so determined now that he doesn't want to let Roman Kreuziger steal that white jersey off him. We go out to another man who's having a wonderful Tour de France here, Tadej Valjevec. He is a Slovenian rider. He starts out the start house today in 9th place overall. And for him, it's his 3rd Tour de France. His finishes so far, 16th and 19th overall. A 9th place finish would be a continuation towards the #1. This is George Hincapie making his run. Now, is he going to also move into the top 5? He's going to have to push this one, I think. Lockvist, his teammate, has slipped away ahead of him. Or has he? No, George has beaten his teammate. He's in 4th. A terrific finish there for George.
Brilliant ride by George Hincapie. Look at his face here, concentrating, looking for the line in front of him, and he stops the clock in 4th.
So let's have a look at the standings then. Cancellara is still first, Miller, Lang, Hincapie, Lockvist. This is becoming a very parochial event for the American teams, isn't it, at the moment? But of course the big rides are still to go. Well, while we look at the standings here, let's join Craig and Bob and find out what's on the show tonight.
Phil, as you know, today changes the fortunes of one rider in particular. Johan, this year you've taken a step back a little bit in terms of the Tour de France, but I know you're excited about today's stage.
I'm very excited about it. Thinking a little bit about last year, almost the same situation, Contador in yellow, Evans chasing him. Now Sastra's in that position, and 53 kilometers are going to decide all about the future of one of those two guys.
Bob, Ask Bob Key, it's winding down. A little sad?
I am a little bit sad. It's been great. The Ask Bob Key questions have changed a lot in the 7 years that Versus has been covering the Tour de France, and they get better and better with each year. The one today is really good.
And we're going to wrap up the prime time at some point with that exciting feature on the Finney family.
Yes, indeed. Well, thanks, guys. Well, these are the men who are going to decide this year's Tour de France, and we're getting very close to the start times now. About 8 minutes, 9 minutes or so to the start of Christian van der Velde. A little bit later to Menchoff. They all start at 3-minute intervals. Carlos Sastre, 10:26 will be the last to go. It's all about who will win the Tour de France when these guys hit the open road.
Honey, if you want to get rid of your gray hair, try my hair color. It's really easy.
Women's hair color can take 30 minutes. Just for men takes 5 minutes.
No one will notice.
Hers colors every hair. Just for men targets only gray.
It has ammonia, but it doesn't smell that bad.
Oh yes, it does. Just for men has no damaging ammonia.
Let's go buy some. It'll only take half an hour.
Yeah, right. The truth is, men need Just for Men. Stay in the game.
Here at our remote test facility, we put the Nissan Altima through over 5,000 extreme tests to help ensure long-lasting quality and durability through whatever the world throws at it. The Nissan Altima, made to drive, built to last. Lease a new 2008 Nissan Altima for $199 a month for 36 months.
Pushing yourself to the edge has never tasted so good. Try new Power Bar Energized Fruit Smoothie in 3 great flavors: creamy citrus, berry blast, and tangy tropical. Rich smoothie taste. Power Bar, power to push.
Hi, welcome to Progressive.com.
Honey, what's all this?
Insurance?
Progressive motorcycle insurance.
Yeah.
RV insurance?
Uh-huh.
Boat insurance. But we don't have any of those things.
Well, actually, I do. We do. We do. Surprise! Let's bag these up.
Saving you money so you can buy more toys. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
Harold and Kumar escape from Guantanamo Bay unrated.
Hi.
See behind this. Hear words that rhyme with these.
Hit. Plug. Fell. Rack.
Huh? And experience all this.
You like to spoon?
Yeah! Buy it Tuesday on unrated Blu-ray and DVD.
When your engine's running clean, you feel it. And Pennzoil Motor Oil can clean out up to 15% of sludge in the first oil change. So change with Pennzoil and feel the clean. Not just oil, Pennzoil.
If you gonna eat $5, shouldn't you get more meat? Quiznos large deli favorite sandwiches are now $5 with more meat than similar Subway footlongs. Quiznos.
2002 was my first tour. I definitely remember the feeling I had when we swung onto the Champs-Élysées on the last stage for the first time. There's millions of people there lining the streets. I got goosebumps. I've done the tour 5 times, and every time on the Champs-Élysées, it's a great feeling.
Here is Cadel Evans in the start house.
Can be quite nerve-wracking. Can be a bit of a nervous few seconds standing up there on the ramp and all the TV and photographers and people, and and try not to think of the millions of people around the world that are watching me on TV. Try and concentrate on staying calm, actually. That's the best thing for me personally. Obviously, if I can be successful in time trials, I like them for that reason, but also it's the special helmet, the special bike, it's a special discipline of cycling, which it just adds another factor to the race and an interest to the race. I like it.
Yes, I have to say there's everything special about this year's Tour de France, not just the time trials. This is the situation unchanged. Cancellara, Miller, Lang, Hincapie came in with that 4th place to push Lockfist's teammate down 1 notch. And now we go to the start house, and this is Alejandro Valverde. You see the throwaway his Tour de France early on, but he's still sitting 7th overall in the race. And he's never finished the Tour de France, you know. This is his 4th attempt. I'm sorry, he finished 6th last year, rather. His other 2 he crashed out of, which has always had bad luck. And he's even had a crash in this one. As we get out onto the highway, Valverde has now made his start, sitting in 7th place. Well, this is Cadel Evans' pole. The moment is nearly nigh now, as Serge guides him away from the crowd, as he's done for 3 weeks. He wears number 1 because Alberto Contador was not invited to the Tour de France, and now it's up to Cadel.
Well, he must be extremely nervous, Phil. I tell you what, I'd rather be starting the Tour de France in the lead, and he knows now he's got to pull back almost 2 seconds for every kilometre of the race this afternoon. It's a big ask. He can do it, but mentally, is he ready? Physically, is he fresh?
Well, where he comes from these days is in a very windy quarter of the peninsula down near Geelong, the Ballerine Peninsula, and it's very windy at Barwon Head, so you'll find the conditions at least slightly easier today, but the pressure, oh boy, magnify it 10 times and you won't even realise, because the whole of Australia will be watching that today. Or should I say tonight?
Absolutely, I'm quite certain of that, and they realise how important it is. He has a chance of writing his name into the history books forever if he can be the first Australian to win the Tour de France this afternoon. And to do that, Phil, what's facing up to him is this 53-kilometre test that Roman Kreuziger is facing up right now. He started the day in 13th place overall, 2nd in the race to be the best young rider, and the man he's trying to beat is none other than Andy Schleck, who started the day in 12th place overall.
Roman Kreuziger about 2 minutes away from the checkpoint, and then we'll get some idea where he features. Sandy Cassar has gone through. He's in 21st place. He started 3 minutes ahead of Roman Kreuziger, so Kreuziger must be closing in on stopping the clock there. Then when Schleck goes through behind him, we'll get an idea of that race for the final white jersey. Watching Foten, Marcus Foten here, who lost the white jersey competition to Damiano Cunego a couple of years ago in the last time trial. As he races up here again, looking at Jurgen van der Waller's time, he beats him. He's 23rd, 1:8:44 for Marcus Foten, and he can take the rest of the day off. Down to the start house.
Well, Christian van der Velde, Phil, I have to say this man has really impressed me in the Tour de France this year as he rolls away now. This man is a great individual time trialist. He's ridden on the track as a young man in the individual pursuit and in the team pursuit. He knows how to ride fast, and today he's got to ride fast if he wants to get himself onto the podium.
Well, he's made his start of his 6th Tour de France. He's going to see Paris. The only one he never finished was 2001. He abandoned on stage 7. We're going to catch up with him as he makes his way towards the finish. This is Pedric Fedrigo finishing up his day in the saddle and won't be rocking any boats when he crosses the line. So we have the 6th place man overall is gone now. The next man to go will be Denny Menchoff, 3 minutes behind him, as we go back out on course now for Andy Schleck. Still waiting for Kreuziger's time at the 18-kilometre check. He hasn't got there yet.
Well, he can't be too far away. I have to say Andy Schleck looks pretty good here. He's fresh, and that's the important thing, I think, when you start to talk about the final time trial in the Tour de France, because it's not at all like an early time trial after the first week, or in this year as a case after the first 4 days. It's the man who is still fresh, the man who's recovered from the efforts of 3 weeks of bike racing, 3 weeks of punishment, 3 weeks of attacks, incessant attacks that Team CSC have lodged against Cadel Evans. And it looks to me as if Andy Schleck is coming out of this fairly comfortably. 191 is the number of Christian van der Velde.
Yes, we're back with the American now, who is inspired. He is a team leader at last, and he's lived up to that flag for the new Garmin Chipotle team. He really knows now everything his team has done for him for 3 weeks. Can he deliver them a podium finish? They'd mob him if he did just that. Even a 6th place finish. He's never remotely looked like finishing in 6th place in the past, and he is a very good time trialist. David Miller's actually said he thinks he can win today. We'll find out soon.
Well, we will. This is Matteo Brussegin coming to the finish line, a great individual time trialist, and in fact it looks as if he's caught the rider who started in front of him. He's looking at the time of Chavanel. Well, that's switched by. He's looking at the time of Federico. In fact, this is not one of his great performances. He's had a very quiet Tour de France as he stops the clock in 12th place.
Well, that is not a bad ride, but not a great ride. He's more inspired when he rides his own Tour, the Giro d'Italia, as he goes out there now. And the face there of Matteo Brussegin. So we get back out on course and join Christian van der Velde again. His family have come over to see him finish the Tour de France. Must get settled in very early. He's full of confidence. He's come here very warmed up for the ride. Back in the start house, Denny Menchoff almost licking his lips. He will start 3 minutes behind Christian van der Velde.
He looks ready, he looks hard, and he knows that he's looking for a big battle here this afternoon as he's about to roll down the starting ramp. He doesn't say very much, Phil, but I tell you what, he does all of the talking with his legs.
Well, last year, you may recall, he left in tears after the shenanigans with Michael Rasmussen, the man who was leading the Tour de France. His team sent him home because he lied about his whereabouts. Was he in Mexico or was he in Italy? The team took the next day in disarray, and this man stepped off his bike on stage 17 and went home. Now he has come here as the leader of that team, and we'll see how he goes today. Kreuziger, by the way, has gone through with an 8th best time, so now we want to see what Andy Schleck does when he gets through there at the first check. This is van der Velde.
Van der Velde looking very good. Look how deep that front rim of his is. It's a carbon fiber rim. That's to make the front end of the machine not only maneuverable but also aerodynamic. Now, Phil, Carlos Sastre in the last few moments is getting himself ready before he has to come up into the starting ramp. He's got the yellow tunic on. This tunic he wants to keep till tonight. There's one man trying to take it away from him, and his name is Cadel Evans from Australia.
Well, every time he looks down, he sees the yellow shorts. He is in the maillot jaune of the Tour de France. He's never worn it before. He's held it since the mountains. He won the Queen stage at Alpe d'Huez. He is now not going to give up this yellow jersey without a fight, and he knows what Cadel Evans has to do that. We are doing 70 kilometers an hour here behind Christian van der Velde. It's unbelievable speed.
Well, Christian van der Velde, let's not forget, he was one of the powerhouses of Lance Armstrong's US Postal Service Team Time Trial Squad many years ago, and now he has this year, I think, come to some kind of fruition. He's now starting to get the payback of having been one of the top domestiques in the world, and now he looks like a real serious challenger. He knows with an incredible performance here this afternoon, he could get himself onto the podium. That's his dream. That's what he's going to look for this afternoon. It's a huge ask, Phil. He's looking for 4:41 on Carlos Sastre. He's looking for 3 minutes on Schleck. He's looking for 3 minutes on Cole. He's looking for 2 minutes on Menchoff.
Back to the start house now. He starts not in the yellow jersey, which he lost in the Alps to his big rivals, and in particular to Carlos Sastre. He starts from 4th from the end of the 145 riders in the Tour de France. Cadel Evans carries the hopes of Australia now, and he knows he is the fastest time trialist. But can he get the time back he's left in the Alps?
That is the important thing. He knows he's always beaten Carlos Sastre. Psychologically, that will give him an advantage. But what he does know as well is he has to pull back almost 2 seconds for every kilometre of this 53-kilometre individual test. Has he recovered?
Silence here. They've almost gone dead silent, the crowd. They know the importance of the start as they start to count him down. 5 seconds to go. Cadel Evans now knows he is racing for the only yellow jersey left in this year's Tour de France, because tomorrow the man that wears it will win it.
Well, that's the important thing. There he goes, out on course. Has he recovered from the crash he had in the Pyrenees? Has he recovered from the massive battle that he's had? And he's come out of that starting gate, Phil, very hard, very fast, and very concentrated.
He's got to get into his rhythm straight away. Now, we know the first 15, 16 kilometres of this course are very, very fast. We have seen Christian van der Velde doing 70 kilometers an hour, and he knows, Cadel Evans knows, he's got to get into that very quickly. He's got to start his time gains over Sastre as soon as he can. And I think there's been a crash here. Bernard Cole, I'm pretty sure, fell off the ramp there as our camera cut back. He slipped off the ramp, and that's a nasty shock.
Well, you can see
his chain is off, by the way. I hope somebody noticed that.
And that will have rattled him a fraction. This young man, let's hope that he doesn't have, Phil, the kind of ride that a certain man had in the polka dot jersey a few years ago, Michael Rasmussen.
Yes, indeed, who seemed to crash his way through to the finish of the time trial. Back out with Cadel Evans now as he sits on that central white line there, concentrates, builds it up to as fast as he can go. Here comes Nibali as he comes through to the second check. He was once the leader of this race in the white jersey. He's dropping away a little bit today, but he's another young man of the future. It's his first Tour de France.
Well, it seems almost irrelevant at the moment, but in the battle for the white jersey, Roman Kreuziger has pulled back 35 seconds on Andy Schleck at the first time check at 18 kilometers. But the big battle really, Phil, this afternoon is all about the yellow jersey. That's the important thing, and that's the important thing for Australia and for Cadel Evans, who wears number 1 on his back, but he would like to wear the yellow jersey on his back as he goes onto the Champs-Élysées tomorrow, and he's looking extremely fast.
Are we facing a situation in the last time trial where CSC will lose yellow and white to rival riders? Because Kreuziger keeps those sort of gains up, he might well be in the white young riders jersey tonight for Liquigas and Cadel Evans. We will not know the answer to this one for a little while yet, because we are still waiting for Cole, Frank Schleck and Carlos Sastre to come out of that start house, and not the way Cole just came out of it either.
Absolutely not. A great ride at the first time check for Kim Kirken of Team High Road. He's just gone through there in 3rd position, Phil, and in fact only 24 seconds behind Fabian Cancellara. Schumacher has gone through the 3rd check with the fastest time, 14 seconds faster than Fabian Cancellara, and that one sort of got missed because of the excitement of what's going out on the road.
Well, this is incredible, and it is the way it is going on. We are now waiting, a quick drink there. He seems to have composed himself there. The man that's won the King of the Mountains title. So whatever happens today, he's going home winner of the King of the Mountains. We'll wait and see now. Schumacher has somehow managed to reverse the time of Cancellara by 14 seconds. And I'm sorry we didn't notice it. We got rather obsessed there by the big boys leaving the start house. I'm not sure this man has a good time trial in him, but we're going to find out now.
Well, it's all about this final 53 kilometers, and he's got himself up to speed as quickly as he can. And a little bit further away from the starting gate is Carlos Sastre. He looks very relaxed, Phil. He knows there's only one thing he can do, and that's put in the best time trial performance that he can to try and rival Cadel Evans. He knows Evans is superior at this individual test, but the fact is, Cadel knows too, he has to pull back 2 seconds for every 1 kilometer of today's stage if he wants to don the yellow jersey at the end of the day.
Well, we won't know what Cadel is doing. We can only take visuals until he gets to that first check, which comes at 18 kilometers at Ron Bernard. And we're about 5 minutes from Sastre starting his effort, the most important time trial of his life. He has never beaten Cadel Evans in a time trial, but it's not about beating Cadel. It's about stopping Cadel Evans gaining the time he's already behind, and that is what matters.
Cadel Evans starts the day in 4th place in the overall classification, Phil. He's looking for 10 seconds on Frank Schleck. I don't think he needs to worry too much about that. He's looking for 1 second on Bernard Cole. He's not worried about that, but he is worried about the 1 minute and 34 seconds he needs to pull back on Carlos Sastre. And here's Stefan Schumacher in the finishing straight.
Well, this is going to be a great time. He's taken 27 seconds out of the world champion on the last 2 checks, but has he converted that to be the surprise yet again in a time trial? He can see the clock, and surely he's going to be the new leader here. It is still a long way up, but this is another incredible ride by Stefan Schumacher. I think this will be the best time of the day. Oh, Cancellara will not believe that. 1:03:50, and that is the best time.
That is the new best time for the German there, who stopped the clock there in 1:03, which is really quite remarkable. He's gone inside of the 1:04:11 of Fabian Cancellara. His face is looking at the line there, trying to see what the clock is going to stop at. And you're right, Phil, I'm not sure there are too many men who've got the legs in them this afternoon to beat that one.
Well, he was behind at the second check. He was behind. He came back at the third check, and he's just annihilated the time at the finishing line. Now, let's get back to the Tour de France as to who will win it. Carlos Sastre, dressed in yellow till Paris, or dressed in yellow just for the day? We're about to find out.
Well, we'll find out at the first time check at 18 kilometers into the race. Now, just getting ready to roll away is Frank Schleck, second in the overall classification this afternoon. He was the wearer of the yellow jersey till he relinquished it to his own teammate Carlos Sastre on the slopes of the mythical climb of the Alps, the Alpe d'Huez.
Two riders in the same team get the privilege of starting the last two riders in the start house behind 143 others. Frank Schleck always looks nonchalant, even when he's suffering as he climbs the high mountains. He carries the flag for what has been a Luxembourg tour here, with Frank and Andy Schleck and Kim Kirken doing things that has never been seen in Luxembourg riders for 50 years, since the days of Charlie Gaulle, who won the Tour de France 50 years ago. You might like to know too that if Cadel Evans does win the Tour de France, he'll celebrate the 80 years since Sir Hubert Opperman rode the Tour, the first for Australia, all that time ago.
1928. This now, Phil, is Carlos Sastre, resplendent in yellow. He's battled to get that. He's dreamed about winning the Tour de France, and now he has to dream about riding the best time trial of his career if he's going to prevent Cadel Evans from taking the glory down under.
So Cadel Evans has started 12 minutes ahead of Carlos Sastre. He's been riding nearly 7 minutes, and he's heading now to the first check, where Cancellara and Schumacher set the best time there, identical at 21.5 minutes. Evans needs to be amongst the best times, but he's not interested on being the best time. He's only interested in being there faster than any of the riders behind him, and there are only three: Cole, Schleck and Sastre.
Yes, but what a way to win the Tour de France if he's going to do it in winning the final time trial as well. Lance Armstrong always made a point of saying if you want to win the Tour de France, you have to prove in the final time trial that you are the best man in the race and win the final time trial before going on to the Champs-Élysées. And Cadel, I'm sure, will know that this afternoon. He knows what he has to do. He's not had an easy Tour de France, Phil. He had that nasty crash on the stage up to Otakam. He had to recover from that. He had everything thrown at him through the Alps by a very strong squad from Denmark, Team CSC. But now it's all up to him. It's not about Team Lotto. It's not about anything else in the Tour de France except Cadel against himself and against the clock.
Well, if the experts are anything to go by, Lance Armstrong sent a text last night and said Cadel Evans will win the Tour de France. Well, now we're going to find out as he makes his lonely trail. We're still waiting for the start of the Maillot Jaune. There he is. You know, this chap is such a nice man. He's learned to speak English, Carlos Sastre. You feel his personality. His one ambition this year was to win the Tour de France, and he hadn't won a race till he won at Alpe d'Huez. Remember the time gaps today. Sastre is the man on scratch. Schleck is a minute 24 behind. Cole 1:33. Evans a minute 34. Menchoff 2:39. Van der Velde 4:41. They have to make up all that time lost in 3 weeks to pull on the Maillot Jaune, currently worn by Carlos Sastre. He's on the countdown.
Well, the one thing he's got on his advantage, Phil, as it goes down 2-1 and down the ramp, is he's got experience. He's been in situations like this before. He's a serious professional bike rider. This is the living of a dream for him.
Well, Carlos Sastre, to what I have to say is the biggest cheer of the day, because he wears yellow in this lovely little French town of Cérilly, is now the last man to leave town. They'll all be running inside to the televisions now to see how he gets on and what the time checks tell us. Valjevec has gone through the time check at 18 kilometers with the 18th best time, so he's riding pretty solid there to defend a good position overall in the Tour de France. But it's the battle now between the 6 riders here for the last 3 podium places in Paris.
It must be very tough for Carlos Sastre now, Phil, wearing the yellow jersey, starting last man, knowing that the man who is going to try and take the jersey away from him has beaten him almost every time they've come head-to-head in the individual time trial. Well, we're looking on the right-hand side at Bernard Cole, and Cole is trying to do the ride of his life to stay not only in the polka dot jersey, but on the podium.
Well, we're just watching here Christian van der Velde tapping out the rhythm. We're waiting for that check at 18 kilometres. He's still got a little way to run to that, probably 6 minutes or so. 5 of his on best time. Then we switch here to the face of Cadel Evans, breathing fire as he's a bit further back down the road, of course. Cadel Evans is 6 minutes behind Christian van der Velde. In between them is Denny Menchoff. Everybody craning their necks to catch a glimpse here of Cadel Evans, who's out of the saddle and got a good rhythm going. So as Cadel Evans crests that little rise, we don't know how well he's going yet. Still Cancellara best time at the first check, but Schumacher is the best time at the finish. We'll take a break.
The tour is great. It really makes me feel like riding. Of course, now that I'm not racing anymore, I can actually admire the beautiful countryside. Like these great vineyards, like those great wineries. It's so European. Well, not exactly. Actually, when Bordeaux had a terrible grape blight in the 19th century, many grapes were brought from right here in Missouri to France. My home state.
Start your engine.
What if we could replace something harmful with water? The Honda Fuel Cell Vehicle, a car that emits no pollution, only clean water vapor.
You're not a true champion until you can defend that belt.
I'm the guy that everybody wants to beat.
Backed by popular demand, it's Carino's 2 Can Dine for $19.99. Choose 2 entrees like our Bowtie Festival Chicken Fettuccine and Carino's own Skilletini, a sizzling skillet filled with chicken or sausage, marinated onions, bell peppers, and spaghetti in our own spicy marinara sauce. It comes with unlimited soup or salad and fresh bread. To top it off, you each get a new mini dessert like our tiramisu or Italian chocolate cake. It's the 2 Can Dine for $19.99. Only at Carino's. Food, fire, fun.
A healthy lifestyle begins before you even get out of bed. It begins with the Doctor's Choice mattress, the perfect combination of support and comfort. In fact, I've recommended it to my patients.
Visit our store or website and discover all the benefits of Doctor's Choice by Denver Mattress.
American television first. From the creator of Survivor, The Contender Muay Thai. Premieres Thursday at 10 on Versus.
Welcome back. The yellow of the Maillot Jaune of the Tour de France, worn today by Carlos Sastre. He took it on the top of Alpe d'Huez, and now he's tapping out a rhythm here which he hopes will win him the Tour de France by the end of the day. Well, we're looking here, he's heading towards the 18-kilometre check. He's a way off from that. Valverde's just gone through that 18-kilometre check in only 25th place, so there's no challenge coming from Valverde. A late rush to pierce the top 6 in this race. He'll be just about hanging on to 7th just now.
Well, I think, Phil, we'll be looking at around about 5 or 6 minutes before Cadel Evans gets to that point. But this man, his body not giving us any sign at all of weakness. He's looked really solid in the middle of those handlebars. He's not a great individual time trialist. He's magical in the mountains. We saw that on the slopes of the Alpe d'Huez. He's got a big gear going in there. He's got a huge chainring on the outside, keeping himself up to around about 50 kilometers an hour. The average speed of the leader at the finish line at the moment is Stefan Schumacher's 49.9 kilometers an hour.
Sastre has never not finished a Tour de France, and Cadel Evans is in the same boat as far as that is concerned. Evans has always said, as long as he keeps improving, he'll keep going for the Tour de France. Well, last year he finished second. There's only one place you can improve to, and that is first.
And that's what he wants. That's what he's looking for. He should get to that first time check at 18 kilometers, Phil, in around about 6 minutes from here. He's out of the saddle. He's trying to keep the pace nice and high. It's time to check in here with Denny Menchov. We haven't got any time checks on Menchov out on the course. He's been on the bike for about 18 3/4 minutes, and he will get to the first time check in about 3 minutes' time.
Well, our cameras are concerned now with the last 3 or 4 riders. Christian van der Velde is probably 2 minutes away, and we hope probably a little bit quicker than that as he heads to that first time check up the road. Valverde has gone through. No sign yet of Van der Velde coming up on our computer. Carlos Sastre, the sweeper and the maillot jaune of the Tour de France, fighting for his life now. Just looking down there, there's the TV cameras, and very strict rules in protecting riders from the wind in covering the event in a time trial, so that's about the limit of the motorbike. He can't go in front of him. Now, just down there behind Christian van der Velde is, of course, the Garmin Chipotle team car, and I've got a feeling, I'm just waiting to get the clear that we can get into that car. We do have a camera in it today, as our cameras aren't believed. This might be springing a surprise here, Bernard Cole, if the graphics we're getting is right. But wait, though, he's still a little way to run to the first check. Yep. Well, these are the guys cheering them on.
Up to speed, up to speed, up to speed, up to speed. There you go. Perfect. Okay, recover a little bit.
Well, as they drive on, they must have just been wrapped at the time check there, because Van der Velde has just gone through with the 4th best time, and of course that set the trend now for the men who really matter, because the other 3 riders don't matter in this Tour de France. Van der Velde starting off well, only 28 seconds slower than Cancellara and Schumacher at that first check. So that's a good start by Christian van der Velde. The final standings haven't changed for a while, and they may not change, but we're looking at the real battle now. Now Kreuziger going through here, and he's still setting a good time here. We're waiting after he goes through to measure him against Andy Schleck, of course, in the race for the white jersey. Sitsu and Chris Froome has gone through again, showing he's done a very good ride. Kreuziger goes behind there, and he's gone through the 13th best time at the second check. So that's not a bad ride by them. There is Andy Schleck now. He'll be heading up to that time very, very shortly. He's at 20 kilometers to go, and looking for the 36-kilometer check. He's been running for 42 minutes at the moment, so he's still a few minutes away from that check. Let's see as we continue along that long crowd-lined road if we can hear any more from the Garmin car.
Okay, here's your chance to drink water. Drink water right now, Christian. Slug it down, slug it down, slug it down.
He'll drink water, but they should tell him he's 4th in the time trial and best of the men who've got there so far, but there's none of the others really. Valverde's gone through way off the pace, so too is Samuel Sanchez. Andy Schleck racing here to the 36 check. He's at 42 minutes there. Kreuziger has gone through with a 13th best time. That could be interesting. But Van der Velde's 4th place at that first check is the best of the first favourites. I'm more interested to see how that measures up now with the arrival of the next rider at that check, who will be Denny Menchov.
Well, Denny Menchov's time will be very indicative as to how fast or how difficult this time trial is this afternoon. It really is a long, lonely road, isn't it, Phil, for the yellow jersey. Carlos Sastre knows he's been beaten almost every time he's come out against Cadel Evans in an individual time trial. But today, it's a question of how much can Cadel Evans beat him by. Evans, on the other hand, knows he's got to beat this man by 1 minute and 34 seconds. It's an awful lot of pressure.
Well, we're going to know what sort of a race is on. Cancellara still best with Schumacher at the first check. Menchov is 3rd at the first check now, Paul. They're getting a time. It hasn't come up on my computer, though, so we'll have to wait for that. But if it's right, Menchov has slotted in ahead of Christian van der Velde, but it's not confirmed on my computer. I think that Sastre has got off to a very, very good start. It might be an illusion because it is a very fast start, this race. Then it gets a little bit harder. Menchov has gone through in 3rd place, 22 seconds and ahead of van der Velde.
Well, that is very impressive for Denis Menchov. He's not said very much. He's lost some silly time out on the road of the Tour de France. On the first big stage into Nantes, Phil, he lost time, 30 or 40 seconds. He lost some time on the descent of the mountain away from the Col de la Bonnette. And now he's looking for 1 minute and 5 seconds on Cadel Evans in this individual time trial here. In about 2 minutes, Phil, Cadel Evans should be the next man to get to that term check at 18 kilometres covered.
Well, this is going to be a crucial first check here. This is probably the fastest part of the course as well. Cadel Evans can't afford to lose time. We've always talked about the Evans-Sastre battle, but if Menchov gets a faster time here, then he could be jumping over Cadel Evans and aiming at Sastre himself.
Well, at the start of the day, Denis Menchov was looking for 2 minutes and 39 seconds over Carlos Sastre, but this could be an interesting time once Cadel Evans gets there. He's using all of the road. He went out and looked at this course this morning, Phil, to check it out. It was raining at the time, and at a couple of points he went back and went through the corners 3 or 4 times so he could check the line and check the speed that he could use, and that's why you can see him going around here. He used all of the road there to keep his pace as high as possible.
Long straight road. This is a time trialist delight. All of the riders, of ex-riders I should say, rode this course this morning, said this was a course for Cadel Evans. We're going to find out. Here it is now, Andy Schleck at Charenton. Now Kreuziger went through here with the 13th best time, and Andy Schleck is nowhere near and gone sailing out. He's looking at Stuart O'Grady's 26th best time at the moment. Even worse, this is getting a little bit serious for Andy Schleck, I think, Paul.
Well, it is. Let's not forget he's got a 2-minute buffer on Kreuziger. Kreuziger went through 2:11 down. Well, he's lost himself around about a minute so far. He's still in the white jersey, but if he starts to continue losing at that amount of time, Phil, he could be losing his white jersey lead.
Well, at 36 kilometres, he's lost 63 seconds of his advantage over Kreuziger, who will keep on riding at top speeds. We'll see what happens there. But it's warning bells ringing, there's no doubt about that. This is now Kim Kirken, the Luxembourg time trial champion. He is turning out a good ride here. He's got the 4th best time, and including Menchov's ride, at the first check. So he's going to go through here with the 3rd best time, only just ahead of Miller, who was getting faster and faster at this stage.
I'll tell you one thing, Kim Kirken here, Phil, with 3rd place at that point, is looking at a place in the top 10 overall in the Tour de France. He was 11th at the start of the day, and I reckon he's got position number 8 in his sights.
Now look at the face of Cadel Evans. The whole of Australia is on his shoulders here for sure, and that's why I think we've heard all of these unfortunate stories. Cadel punching policeman, head-butting cameraman. The pressure, I think, got to him a little bit.
The pressure of being in the position that he is.
The road now ahead as Cadel Evans has just himself to consider the situation here. We're looking at the 36 kilometre time check next. 42.38 was Cancellara through there. This is one-on-one battle now. It's saying here Cadel Evans is 4 seconds slower than Cole. I'm not too sure I can believe that, but we'll wait and find out as we get to that time check. So there's Cadel Evans out on front. Let's see if we can listen in at the team car again.
You're going good. Come on, Cadel. Come on, Amand.
Well, this is Henrik Redant, Cadel's boss.
17,5. You have 300 meters uphill coming up to the intermediate point, eh?
Little 300 meters uphill. I think you can see it just down the road there, actually. Henrik Redant there trying to cheer his man on. He's great confidence in Cadel Evans. Evans has gone through that in 6th place. Cadel Evans has gone through at 38 seconds. He conceded 16 seconds to Menchov at the check. So he's still got a little bit of work to do here. And more importantly, how much is he gaining on Carlos Sastre, if at all, dare I say. Well, 38 seconds, Paul. So he's, what is he, 16 seconds slower than Menchov at that check.
Well, that is rather precarious, Phil, because he started the day with a 1 minute and 5 second buffer over the Russian. This race could completely and utterly turn upside down in this last 53 kilometre individual time trial. This is Sivtsov coming up to the finish, a rider from Team Columbia. He's a solid young rider for the future, and he's going to stop the clock with a top 15 place.
He won the Tour de Georgia this year in the United States. That was when we first found his name. It's not spelled like that, by the way. I think it's a VT and an SOV. But anyway, anyway. He's got 11th place as he comes in 1 hour, 6 minutes. So here again, another man for the future. But here is the man for the present here now, and we've still no idea what he's doing at the moment. Evans was the last man through the first check. We're waiting now to see what the other 3 riders behind Cadel Evans are doing. 40 kilometers to go for the Maillot Jaune Sastre.
Well, he should be at that first time check, Phil, in around about 5 minutes or so. The next rider to get there, of course, will be Bernard Cole, then Frank Schleck, and finally Carlos Sastre.
They're thinking that worries me. Perhaps the clocks are right. Perhaps Bernard Cole is pulling one out of the bag and being slightly ahead of Evans, who does not seem to have settled down to this time trial yet. We're looking down at Carlos Sastre. And they were trying to climb into the team car of Garmin there, but it looks like the camera froze up. Must be in the trees. So we'll have another look in a minute, because there is Christian van der Velde out there. And he looks as though he's got himself going very well. We'll go back and try the team car again.
41 seconds faster than Cadel at the first time split. Excellent work, Christian. Excellent work. Excellent work. Come on, Christian. You're right into a Schumacher and Cancellara for the stage. Come on, Christian. Come on. We can go faster the second half. Come on.
Well, you heard it. He's saying he's faster than Evans, and he certainly is at that first check. But we'll, again, have to wait and check that out. This is the yellow jersey of Carlos Sastre. We've never had a time trial quite like this. Cadel Evans is going to have to lift himself here. And Cole has gone through in 6th place now at 34 seconds. So he is faster than Cadel Evans by 4 seconds at the moment. So that says it all. The computer is absolutely correct. Cadel Evans is yet to find his rhythm in this race. So Carlos Sastre, is he rising his game to be the final Maillot Jaune in Paris tomorrow? There's only 2 riders left to arrive at that first check, and Cadel Evans is not enjoying his time trial just at the moment. That's the situation at the finish. A quick break, rejoin us.
The time trial. The clock and road are constant, but this bike cheats the wind. Every pedal stroke propels me. Do you hear it? This bike handles, this bike is aero, this bike is my advantage. I am Tom Bonen. I am specialized.
At Mike's Hard Lemonade, we have lots of good ideas, like coming up with the perfect combination of lemonade and alcohol. Or Mike's Hard Light Lemonade. Or, check this out, Mike's Hard Double Caffeinated Soy Lemonade.
Joey, what you got there?
The little idea I came up with is...
We don't do soy, okay?
We don't do soy.
In a world gone soft, someone's got to be hard. Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Domestique literally means servant. Christian van der Velde was a domestique. He served Lance Armstrong for 5 years. Now, he's serving notice.
Backed by popular demand, it's Carino's 2 Can Dine for $19.99. Choose 2 entrees like our Bowtie Festival, chicken fettuccine, and Carino's own skilletini, a sizzling skillet filled with chicken or sausage, marinated onions, bell peppers, and spaghetti, and our own spicy marinara sauce. It comes with unlimited soup or salad and fresh bread. To top it off, you each get a new mini dessert like our tiramisu or Italian chocolate cake. It's the 2 Can Dine for $19.99. Only at Carino's. Food, fire, fun.
Cable's #1 sitcom of all time just keeps getting funnier. From the comedic mind of Tyler Perry comes the funniest family on television.
There's so many stories and so many things that I hear about. It's great to be able to take those stories to this show. It's really funny.
All black men's blood pressure is high. Mine ain't. I said black, not beige.
Catch up on Tyler Perry's House of Pain, Wednesdays at 9, followed by brand new episodes at 10.
On TBS.
Vision first. From the creator of Survivor, The Contender Muay Thai. Premieres Thursday at 10 on Versus.
Welcome back, and this is our beautiful Trek area view again on the most crucial day of the Tour de France. These are the villages of the department of the Cher, as we now race towards the end of a remarkable day in the Tour de France. Well, you're right, Paul, that man there, we're hearing that Frank Schleck has gone through with 1:31, the loss for Frank Schleck, so he's written himself out already, I think, of a podium place.
Yes, but what's going to be more important, Phil, is I think what will be the position of Carlos Sastre when he gets there. Cadel Evans doesn't seem to me to be in great form this afternoon. He really seems to be suffering. He's not getting his rhythm going. Could it be the pressure, or could he be taking a slow start and trying to save everything and bank on the final 10-15 kilometers? The yellow jersey now, Phil, will be getting to that time check at 18 kilometers into the race.
He's very, very close to that time check right now, and it's going to be a crucial one. Remember that Frank Schleck in front of him, only the 42nd best time. I would think it'd be the 43rd shortly. We've gone back up to Denny Menchoff here. We're waiting for Carlos Sastre's time there, and we're going to try and see if it splits the team. 36 kilometers will be the next check for Denny Menchoff. He's currently 34 minutes into the race. We've had 144 riders at that check, and surely our cameras are not going to miss on this, because Carlos Sastre must be extraordinarily close there. Cadel Evans has gone through a time of plus 38 seconds as he's gone through there, so he's only in the first 7 riders on the course. As I say, 144 riders have now passed through there. We're waiting for the time that matters as we look here back to Cadel Evans here. He's gone through, he's still got the 7th best time at that first check, and he's now heading up like everybody else towards the crucial second check. Long empty road ahead. I've stopped talking because I'm listening to the race as well here, which is indicating that Sastre has gone through that check, but I haven't got his time. Let's go back in the team car here.
46 seconds
on. Menchoff did now 20 seconds faster as you are. 20 seconds Menchoff gained on you. But you're perfect in the times for yellow there. Huh? Come on, huh? Go. Huh?
Well, keep on going, but it's not good news. I'll tell you, Carlos Sastre has gone through with a time of 10th best time, and he's lost a little time to Evans, but only 8 seconds. And that sort of gain, he's not going to lose his lead in the Tour de France. Well, Paul, it's not the gains we expected to see, is it, by Cadel Evans over Sastre? That is nothing at the first check, quite honestly.
Well, Phil, at the first time check, Carlos Sastre has only conceded 12 seconds to Cadel Evans. Now, if you work that out, it should be 36 seconds at this point. Carlos Sastre is riding the first part of this time trial of his career.
I think it might be, well, we'll wait for the confirmation. I've got
38 seconds behind for Cadel Evans, and 46 seconds behind for Carlos Sastre.
So that's 8 seconds between Evans and Sastre. That's all it is at the moment, which is not very much at all, is it?
No, it's not. It really isn't very much at all for Carlos Sastre, and in fact he's doing a phenomenal performance. The man who is not doing the performance is Cadel Evans. I'm surprised to see Bernard Cole in front of him by 4 seconds and Denny Menchoff in front of him by 16 seconds.
Well, it's got to be pressure. The time trial, we often say, is the race of truth, but, you know, it's the pressure. It's not all coming out. We heard Cancellara earlier say he got it all out today, and he's only sitting in 2nd place at the end of it. Cadel Evans is going to have a very good last half of this race. Situation is, at the moment, the overall classification would be Sastre would win the Tour at the moment. Cole would move to 1st, 2nd. Evans would climb to 3rd. Schleck would go from 2nd to 4th. Menchoff would hold 5th, and Van der Velde would hold 6th. That's if the race ended right now.
Unfortunately, there's still a few kilometers left to go to the finish. Cadel Evans has got to get himself back into this bike race, but Phil, just looking at his body language, all of a sudden the top half of his shoulders are starting to rock and roll a fraction, as if he's got a big weight on them that he can't get rid of, and he's only pulled back 8 seconds in 18 kilometers, and at that average speed and that amount of pulling back time, it's not enough.
Well, these long straight roads can get depressing if you know the body isn't producing the correct wattage right now. And Carlos Sastre will have been told that he's only conceded 8 seconds in 18 kilometres to Evans, and the Cole is turning out to be a challenger for his yellow jersey.
Phil, I spoke to Pedro Delgado before the start of this race, and he said the one thing that Carlos Sastre always made a mistake with in his time trialing and previous time trials was using too small a gear, keeping his cadence up and high. Now it seems to me every time I look at Carlos Sastre, he's using a much bigger gear than he's used to in the individual time trial. So if he can keep that rhythm going, he's got a great chance of holding off the advance here of Cadel Evans. 8 seconds for Cadel at this point is really not enough.
And Cadel knows it. He's trying here, he's fighting his bike, he's trying to lift his pace here. Samuel Sanchez gone through the second check and he's dropping down now. He's only 15th fastest third, he was 8th. So he's finding the second half of this race pretty difficult here. Skies are blue, there'll be no more rain. It's been a very fair course this for all riders at the back end because they're all riding in the same conditions. Cadel Evans may not be winning the Tour de France unless he can produce a magical next 18 kilometres.
Just looking at his face there, he's bobbing up and down there. He's feeling the pressure of being the #1 challenger. It's not easy. It's not the easiest thing in the world.
Well, as we watch here, Valverde coming through to Charenton. Valverde is not on fire today in the time trial. As you can see, 27th, third place is Barredo, who had that second place the other day behind Marcus Burkhardt. He's even slower than that now. Valverde's up against Gutierrez, former time trial champion, goes through in 30th place at the moment. He's hanging on, but the gaps are a bit big in his area in the overall, so he should be holding on to his 7th position in the Tour de France. Let's have another check-in with the team car and see what they're saying to their riders. As we watch the big crowd here behind.
Uphill for 300 meters now. Uphill 300 meters. Come on, pull it, pull it, pull it.
Uphill for 300 meters, said Hendrik Redant.
In the classification, you are now at 120. 120 to the yellow. 120. Come on, boy.
Yes, that's the right way to tell him. Not what he's gaining. He's not quick enough, but he's now at 120. This is Van der Velde here. Big check here for Christian Van der Velde as he races up towards 36 kilometers. Well, Paul, he's aiming at Kirken's 3rd time, and Christian Van der Velde is the 6th man in the Tour de France. That was a surprise, to say the least, but he's lived up to his reputation. 3rd place now, and that's pushed Kirken down one. He is firing. He's moving up this time.
Well, he's got a big amount of time, Phil, to try and pull him back up into the top 3 or 4 positions. But I tell you what, he is riding a very good time trial there. And in fact, it's given almost exactly the same time as King Kirken. So he's tied for 3rd place behind the 2 dominators of the time trial, Cancellara and Schumacher. And so he is turning out to be currently the best of the rest. But we're still waiting for the arrival at that point of Denis Menchov, the Russian.
Well, we had a glimpse there of Roman Kreuziger. He's just gone through the 47-kilometre point with the 16th best time, so he really is going to run Andy Schleck all the way to the finish for that white jersey competition. Back with Sastre. He's going to be taking heart here. Cadel Evans is still looking at a minute 20 plus to take out of that man in the last half of this event. The arrival here now of Sandy Cassar. 1:8:36. He's going to aim about 30th place. 31st place for Sandy Cassar, but all of the action really is back out on the road now as we see the French rider finish. He's the leading Frenchman overall. That's not in danger. What is in danger, Cadel Evans appears not to be taking the yellow jersey. 1 kilometre to go for Roman Kreuziger. Then the clock will start on the white jersey competition.
Yep, they're looking at 1 minute and 58 seconds separating Roman Kreuziger and, of course, Andy Schleck at the start of the day. Schleck had lost a huge chunk of time at the second time check, Phil. He'd lost himself 1 minute and 3 seconds of the 1:58 advantage he had over this young man. But to me, the incredible ride is being done on the road by Carlos Sastre. You talked a little earlier about talking to some of the ex-bike riders that we spoke to before the start of the stage. They all said, Phil, that the final 15 kilometres is very difficult indeed, and it suits the ability of a strong Cadel Evans. But the question I'm going to ask is Cadel Evans strong? Has he recovered from the accident he had in the Pyrenees? Has he recovered from the battering he took from Team CSC through the Alps?
Well, that's a question, of course, we don't know the answer to, but he's under pressure, whatever we think. As we watch Roman Kreuziger coming up the home straight here, it's a very good ride indeed. He needs 1 minute 58 over Schleck, who will be the next rider to finish if he is to steal the white jersey at the end. He won the Tour of Switzerland, which is the prep race for the Tour de France. Big effort, and he's just going to fall outside of Brusigin's time, but he is 16th best time, 1 hour, 7 minutes and 11 seconds. So now he's finished, and now we've got to do a 1 hour, 9 minutes and 9. And then that will make the difference up. Now back to Menchov, 36-kilometer check for Denny Menchov. He's aiming at the time of Christian van der Velde. Van der Velde is getting better, because I don't think Menchov is going to match that now. He has slipped behind, and that's reversed the situation. So that is going to be good news for Christian van der Velde.
Well, Denny Menchov is a big, strong man here. He's looking now at the 6th time. He has faded a fraction, 43.46 for the big Russian rider. The second part of this time trial, Phil, is very difficult indeed. Van der Velde is looking pretty impressive here. He's 4th place at that point, 36 kilometers into the race, but he's still got a long way to go. Carlos Sastre is still not rocking and showing any signs of weakness.
Well, we are watching a time trial here, that is for sure. We're only talking of seconds, though. It's going to open up in the next few kilometers, because it gets a little bit harder. Let's see what the Team Garmin car have got to say about that.
Perfect, no hesitation. Good job, Christian. Good job. Perfect. You are third. You are third. You are going much faster than all the other race favorites. Good job. Only Schumacher and Cancellara faster. Good job, Christian.
Yes, that's good news, in fact, because Christian has said.
Okay, now, whenever you get a little chance, a little downhill to recover, take that opportunity. You're coming up on the biggest hill of the race. So any little downhill you can find here, take the opportunity to recover.
Yeah, it's a bit tense in that car, isn't it? But in fact, 3rd place, and he doesn't count the 2 ahead of him, because they're not challenging a high finish in the Tour de France. It's all about racing against. Are we looking now at the man who's going to throw the big surprise that will wrap up this year's Tour de France? Because Bernard Cole here is riding in a rather special situation. He is actually riding at the last check faster than Cadel Evans, who we expected to lead the way home. Looking down on Frank Schleck, he's losing a podium finish today. He's the only rider that we can actually say is probably running away from this Tour de France in the wrong direction. It'll be the big finish when we come back. Rejoin us soon.
What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. Yeah, I'm gonna try with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends, with a little help from my friends.
At Hampton, we love having you here.
We believe in long rides and the stories they bring.
And it was just some soupy mud and just going over the bars.
We believe in simplicity and the idea that complex problems can be solved in a simple way. We believe in firsts and in lifestyles that last. We believe in the power of giving back and never giving up. We believe in bikes.
Pushing yourself to the edge has never tasted so good. Try new Power Bar Energized Fruit Smoothie in 3 great flavors: creamy citrus, berry blast, and tangy tropical. Rich smoothie taste. Power Bar. Power to push.
Shine, shine, shine on.
Your life has more than one dimension. So should your beer. Michelob Ultra, with just 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories. It's not just a great tasting choice, It's a smart one. Live life to the ultra.
Start your engines. It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
Harold and Kumar are on the run, and NPH is on something.
You will come with us.
Harold and Kumar escape from Guantanamo Bay.
Its horn was so shiny.
Buy it July 29th on unrated Blu-ray and DVD.
Nivea for men body wash, huh? Dude, who uses a body wash to get clean?
If the babes can't smell from here, I'm not interested. And the name is gonna dominate. I dominate.
This won't increase my ability to mate.
They need to feel me, they need to hear me, they need to see me. Above all, they gotta smell me, you know? They need to be attracted somehow.
Doesn't dry your skin, doesn't reek. Isn't that the point?
Finally, a body wash for grown-ups. New Nivea for Men body wash has a fresh, subtle scent and is good for your skin.
Works for me.
Nivea for Men, what men want.
Welcome back, and this is the arrival of Kim Kirken, who's pulled something special out of the bag here. He is racing for a third-place finish, and it looks like he is going to push David Miller out of that third slot. He hits the line, 1:4:51. He's done just that. He has gone into third place above Miller. He's going to ride into the top 8 in the Tour de France tonight. That man behind him, he caught for 3 minutes, was Andy Schleck, who has come in 23rd place so far. 4 minutes 2 off the lead, but a very quick calculation, he should keep his white jersey. Well, the legs of Cadel Evans is feeling all of the pressure from Australia, I think, because he's now beginning to struggle just a little bit, but he's got to try and pull something out of the bag. I think Paul Andy Schleck has done just enough to keep his white jersey as he comes in there at the moment, 4 minutes and 2 seconds off the time with a 23rd place finish. Should give him the result he wants. This is the big surprise, and now how is he going? There is Evans's time, and look at this. Cole is still running him very, very closely. When that clock stops, are we going to see almost identical time at 36 kilometers, which truly is amazing, but it looks like Cole has just gone the other way now. But it's not much. It is just 1.5 seconds. That'll be rounded up. 2 seconds there.
Well, I reckon 2 or 3 seconds the difference between this man Bernard Cole and Cadel Evans. So Cadel Evans will have gone over him in the overall standings because they were separated at the start of the day only by a single second. We're looking here at the penultimate rider on the road here, Frank Schleck. He doesn't look as if he's going slowly, but I tell you what, he's lost huge chunks of time. And at the first time check, Phil, he lost himself 1.5 minutes, and he'll tumble away from second place in the overall standings tonight and maybe struggle to stay inside the top 5.
I think he will, but Cadel Evans is now at this point up to 3rd in the Tour de France. Well, as we watch Frank Schleck here, he's riding ever so casually down there. I don't think he seems to be too worried as long as Carlos gets that yellow jersey. Let's check in with Garmin.
Good job, Christian. That's Valverde in front of you. This is where you make the difference here. This is where you make the difference. Good job, Christian. Good job.
Ooh, he must be catching Alejandro Valverde. We've had no shots of that, but he's seen him up front, and that is a great carrot now for Christian van der Velde. This is Cadel Evans then, and he's still looking to find his legs today. Well, he's dancing on those pedals, Paul, but he's not getting back the time deficit of 1 minute and 34 seconds, which is what he needs. Third place is looking a little bit better now. He's certainly 100% committed. This is the situation. Andy Schleck has won, or well, you can't say he has won, but will take the last white jersey up to Paris tomorrow. Kreuziger 117 back, reduce the deficit from 158.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Phil, that probably helped Andy Schleck was the fact he got caught by another rider from Luxembourg, and he was able to use Kim Kirken over the last 10 or 15 kilometers as a marker. But what's impressing me this afternoon, at least over the first half of this race, is the performance of this little man from Spain, Carlos Sastre, the quiet man. He's got a great personality, and he's riding himself quite possibly here into the yellow jersey position. At the start of the day, he started with 1:24 over Frank Schleck. He's actually beating Frank Schleck now. He started with 1:33 over Bernard Cole, 1:34 over Cadel Evans. Evans felt he could easily wipe away 1:34, but for the moment, Phil, it's not turning out to be a very easy job.
No, it is extremely difficult. 2 minutes and 33 seconds. Cadel Evans beat Carlos Strasta in the time trial last year in the Tour de France over a pretty similar distance, but it's a different race when you've got yellow on your back. This is the turning of the Maillot Jaune. He's still a few minutes away from that second checkpoint, by the way, or as we're looking now, we've got Cole has gone through. We've just seen him go through. It's still a long way here for Sastre to update us on that. Let's go back into the Garmin car.
3K to the top, Christian. 3K. Come on, come on. Catch Valverde before we get there. Catch him before we get there. Come on, 3 more K.
Well, we'd like to see the catch as well, but we are, of course, in the hands of our host, which is the French television. We've got the cameras totally committed on the race for the yellow jersey, so we can't show you Van der Velde just yet. But while we look here at the legs of the riders on the course, Paul, I can tell you that, in fact, Alessandro Valverde is now in the target of Christian Van der Velde. We haven't seen the pictures, but he's closing right in on him.
And I'll tell you one thing, because Carlos Sastre, Phil, will also be starting to get his own teammate Frank Schleck in his sights, because he's pulled back a fair amount of time on Frank Schleck, and that will urge him to go that little bit faster. In a few moments' time, we'll get an idea of what the man in yellow is doing. He started the day with a 1:34 advantage over Cadel Evans, and everybody was doing all kinds of calculations for the last 48 hours of how much he's been beaten by Cadel Evans throughout his career. Evans is in front of him at the moment on the road, but not by very much, and not getting the huge chunks of time that he would have expected.
And these riders, don't forget, are not approaching the time set by Stefan Schumacher or Fabian Cancellara, who are in first and second position. Not that it's important, but the big heads of the race are not going to win this time trial. This is purely a private battle of the Tour de France to who takes this final yellow jersey up to Paris tomorrow. And Carlos Sastre has responded like a champion today.
He certainly has, but I'm only wondering whether or not he's gone out too quickly. He knew he had to take the risks here this afternoon. I'm sure, Phil, he will have rattled Cadel Evans a little earlier on. We're now looking at 36 kilometres. This is Frank Schleck. He has dropped an awful long way down in the overall classification. He will not be on the podium in Paris, and he may well not be in the top 5 with a ride like this. He started the day just 1 minute and 24 seconds behind Carlos Sastre, but he started it with a minute and 15 seconds lead on Denis Menchov, and he's lost all of that.
Well, we're looking at Frank Schleck dropping away. We're looking at Cadel Evans at the moment taking second place for the second year in the Tour de France. That's assuming that Carlos Sastre has not cracked in this last 18 kilometres since the last check. This is Cadel Evans now. Whatever you think of his ride right now, and it's really very, very hard for him, he is pushing forward, and he is climbing on to at least the second place podium.
Well, at the moment, virtually I would calculate that Cadel Evans is finishing in third place in the yellow jersey race, and he's pulled back a few seconds, Phil, on Carlos Sastre, but not enough. Maybe around about 20. Sastre is coming up here, and he's challenging the time of Cadel Evans at the 36-kilometre mark.
Well, as he starts to slip away, it's still a fair way to go. Don't forget, Cadel Evans at the moment has gone over the top of Cole. He'll go over the top of Schleck, so he's in second place in the Tour de France. If we get down to the finish quickly, this man is still holding on to that leader's yellow jersey. There's the 13th place of Cancellara, the winner, the leader. He goes to 14th time, 44.31, I think it was. Whipped away rather quickly there.
Yes, in fact, he's only lost 23 seconds to Cadel Evans at the 36-kilometre point, Phil. And I worked out before the start of the day, Evans needed to pull back approximately 2 seconds per kilometre if he was going to beat Carlos Sastre. Yeah. So far, he hasn't even done that.
And he's only got the 17 kilometres left to ride. So Cadel Evans here could be climbing to second for the second year. He is closing in, he is beating Sastre, but he's not getting the time quick enough, is he? Let's have a look back into that team car, because Van der Velde is on the scorcher right now. Has he caught him, I wonder? Come on, boys.
This is it, Christian. This is the last chance to make any time. This is the last chance to make any time right here, Christian. This is it. It's all over when you're at the 5K to go sign. Come on, Christian. Come on.
Well, no update on where we are there. I'm afraid we haven't located any pictures of Christian. Our cameras have all gone back to the battle of the top 4 riders in the Tour de France. And looking at Denny Menchov at the moment. It's a lonely old life out there for the yellow jersey, but I think he's going to be taking a lot of encouragement down to the finish. Samuel Sanchez coming home here. He's been around the top 15 at all of the time checks, and it looks like it's about where he's going to finish. 16th place for Samuel Sanchez. He should hold on to his overall position tonight.
Well, he should do.
To 8th position overall.
That's not a bad performance by Sammy Sanchez coming in, Phil, but I have to say, at the moment, it's serious hats off to Carlos Sastre, because he's doing a phenomenal ride. After 36 kilometres of the race so far, he's only lost 23 seconds.
Well, take a look at the yellow jersey virtual at the moment. If it was to stop now, Cadel Evans would be second at 1:11 and Cole would be down to third at 1:13. So Cadel Evans still looks for 1 minute and 11 seconds, and he's only got, in old money, about 10 miles in which to do it, 16 kilometres.
Carlos Sastre starting to rock a little bit now, Phil, as the pressure starts to get into him, and he's got to keep that big gear ticking over there. He's going around the corners, and he realizes the final few kilometers are where it's going to be the most painful for him, because when he gets to those final few kilometers, the road does not really suit him. The road becomes a little bit more to the men who've got the big power, the big engines, and of course what he will be finding as his biggest enemy is going to be the cross headwind that will really start to hurt.
The caption there showing him in 14th place, of course, is 14th place on the stage, not in the Tour de France, and his time loss there is his time loss on the day. He's only concerned with the time gain of Cadel Evans, and the way it's going right now, he is going to be feeling pretty good inside. Cadel Evans needs 1 minute and 11 seconds to win the Tour de France. Cadel on the day is riding in 7th place, 1.5 minutes slower than the man in the finishing line, Schumacher.
Phil, this is a little bit like deja vu, isn't it? You can turn the clock back just 12 months to the battle between Cadel Evans and Alberto Contador. Everybody thought that Contador was going to get wiped away. This little young man who'd come to the Tour de France.
All over again. It makes too many of the people who pull it on.
It certainly changes a man, and Alberto Contador did that last year, and he held on to 23 seconds advantage over Cadel Evans. Now I wonder if Carlos Sastre over the final few kilometres here has got enough to keep an advantage over Cadel Evans, because Evans is really battling.
Even Menchov lying 6th on the day. So we're looking at Denny Menchov, twice the winner of the Tour of Spain, and as he tries now to get a great result out of this year's Tour de France. Cadel Evans continues to push on now. I wonder what Hendrik Redant has got to say about this. Let's flick the switches and go back inside Sinus Lotto.
It took about 30 seconds already. Come on, this is where you have to take it. Come on, boy. This section.
Yes, he's pushing him on.
Still about 4 more kilometers hard. 4 more kilometers where you can take time. Come on.
And this, in fact, that's what the Garmin car was saying as well. You've got to win this race before the last 5 kilometers, because the road becomes dead flat. The time gains will not be a lot after that. We're probably looking here at the man who's been the real surprise, Bernhard Kohl of Austria, former road race champion of Austria 2 years ago. He's never won a race since, and he's shot to the top in the Tour de France. The whole of the Gerolsteiner team have ridden well this year, but Sastre is the big surprise here. Kohl is slowing a little bit. Cadel Evans does seem to have control of him, but he can't bridge the gap to this man.
Well, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed from this man from Spain here now, Phil. He's doing a phenomenal performance. He's riding out of his skin. He's turning himself inside out, and it's all because of one thing. It's all because of the yellow jersey.
Well, here we are now, the arrival of Christian van der Velde as he sprints home to the end, and it's going to be a great time. He's been cheered and pushed all the way by his team car, Paul. He's racing that time. He's just slipped a little bit over those last 5 kilometres, but 4th place finish, 1:4:55. Well, his mouth wide open there as Christian van der Velde, I think, has done a great ride, and don't forget he's the best so far of the riders in the top 6 overall in the Tour de France. He may not be moving too far up the overall tonight because of the way these boys have been so inspired out of the start house. And of all the inspirations, the yellow jersey of Sastre, I think, is heading for victory in the Tour de France today.
Well, that's a phenomenal performance by Christian van der Velde to get himself at 4th place across the line. But what is more impressive, you can see there, is the performance of the man in the yellow jersey.
So Christian van der Velde in. So van der Velde is in, out on the course. They're saying Bernard Cole is 12 seconds behind Evans. Cadel Evans, Paul, is pushing on here, but he's hardly escaping the clutches of the polka dot jersey of Bernard Cole. Bernard Cole. Never mind Sastre.
Well, Bernard Cole, for me, has been the big surprise in this time trial here. He's ridden his heart out. He rode his heart out in the mountains to get himself the lead in the King of the Mountains classification. And he's clutching onto a podium position here this afternoon. But this man at the back of the race, the last man to start here this afternoon, Carlos Sastre, in the yellow jersey, is trying to keep himself right up there. He knew at the start of the day, statistically, arithmetically, normally he was going to lose the yellow jersey this afternoon to Cadel Evans, but one thing nobody factored into that, Phil, was the courage and determination that you get when you pull on that yellow jersey.
Well, here's Menchov, currently 6th on the road. Christian van der Velde has finished and he's holding 4th place. So Menchov, who threatened van der Velde at the first check, seems to be falling behind him now. It's only time, of course, that counts, and there's plenty in hand for Menchov, because van der Velde started the day here 4:41, whereas Menchov was at 2:38, so he should hang on to his 5th place in the race.
Yeah, well, Denny Menchov started the day with a 2:02 advantage over Christian van der Velde. Van der Velde has finished this race off, I think, Phil, nurturing possibly hopes of coming back next year and trying to get himself on the podium, if not to try and win this bike race. This man is trying to win the bike race this year. Cadel Evans is still rocking. He's using a massive gear, Phil, trying to keep himself rolling forward if he can.
He's gone through 1:52 off the best place. He's in 7th place at the moment, with now just on 5 kilometers from the finish. It's the last kilometer for the Russian cyclist Denny Menchov. He lost a little bit of time on 3 counts, really. The first was a silly crash in the opening week. The rest was in the mountains. Just a few seconds off the pace. It's cost him, really, a chance at shooting at Carlos Sastre's yellow jersey. But we know he can ride a great time trial. And let's not forget, he has won the Tour of Spain on 2 occasions. He's not going to win the Tour de France today, but he is going to finish in the top 5.
Well, he's a strong bike rider. He will rue the time, Phil, that he lost on the road into Nantes. He will rue the time that he lost when he descended the Col de la Bonnette and lost himself another 40 seconds, because he would have been very close to winning the Tour de France this year if he hadn't lost time in silly accidents like he's had.
Well, he's still giving this his best shot, because every second counts, especially in a time trial. There's David Miller now down to 5th overall at the finish. Menchov will be slower than David Miller as he goes down to 6th place now. He's fallen well behind Christian van der Velde, but I don't think with enough time lost to alter the position of the American rider. It's a long way home when you're flat out, but Menchov is about to finish the day in 6th place as he hits the line.
6th place, and he's lost himself 1:54 seconds. But now, Phil, there are only 4 more riders to come into the finishing line here in Saint-Amand-Montrond. Cadel Evans, Bernard Cole, Frank Schleck and Carlos Sastre. And Sastre is still holding on to the overall lead. He must be beginning now, Phil, to believe that he can do this. But to do it over the last few kilometres, he's going to really have to turn himself inside out. He will have to bury himself over these final kilometres. And probably at the start of the day, he didn't believe that he could do this, but he's come out, he's done battle over all of the time checks, and he's still in with a chance of winning this bike race.
I can realise the disappointment in Australia, but Cadel Evans currently riding 7th best on the road. This man riding 14th best. Those 7 places difference converted into time does not add up to 1:34 seconds. So Sastre is going to hold on to this yellow jersey, and it's a question of whether Cadel Evans can handle Bernard Cole over the last 5 kilometres and hold on to 2nd place in the Tour de France. And that bit looks reasonably assured. But the yellow jersey of Carlos Sastre has been superb. Back up the road now. Cadel Evans is the next man to come in the long, lonely straight here as he heads down to the finish in this lovely town of Saint-Amand-Montrond. As Cadel Evans, he's hurt himself, Paul. He's hurt himself all of the way, and it's not quite come. 1:08 he still needs. He's not going to get a minute 8 back.
1:08. He is currently virtually behind Carlos Sastre in the overall classification. He started the day looking for 1:34. Well, he's not going to get all of that this afternoon. He's in the streets of Saint-Amand-Montrond this afternoon. Hats off to the man on the right-hand side, because I have to tell you, Carlos Sastre has done a phenomenal performance.
Well,
dodgy round that corner. He's got to keep the pace nice and high. There is the Flamme Rouge, the last kilometre for Cadel Evans, and then he's going to have to wait around about 9 minutes to see whether or not he's got the time back on Carlos Sastre, or if the Spaniard has finished as fast as he started.
Sastre is running at an expense of only a loss of 26 seconds at the moment to Cadel Evans on the day. And you know, he's never ever been that close to Cadel Evans, remotely close to that of Cadel Evans in his life. 61 seconds I think he's made and lost to Cadel Evans in the past. That's the closest he ever got. But right now Cadel Evans has not been able to drag that time. 1:34 he wanted. Once he hits the line, the clock will count it down. It's an awful long way through the chicane. This is a very tricky bend here. Once he straightens up off that barrier, he's racing for the line. Cadel Evans, his Tour de France has been all about a yellow jersey. He's worn the yellow jersey, but today I think he is not going to win the Tour de France, but with a bit of luck he is going to finish second for a second year, and that itself is a tremendous thing for anybody to do. Evans bobs up to the line. There's the time of Menchov has gone by. He's behind Menchov. He's been going through the checks in 7th place. That's the way it will be. He is coming in at the moment with the 7th best time of 1:5:56.
Well, he really hurt himself there, Phil, to keep the pace up as high as possible. He knew how important it was here this afternoon. He will have used massive gears along the road. Out on course now, just 3 riders left. Bernard Cole, Frank Schleck we're looking at. And look at this, the yellow jersey is about to catch his own teammate. Frank Schleck started 3 minutes behind Carlos Sastre. Carlos Sastre this afternoon has ridden, Phil, the time trial of his life, of his career. And he's looking now at the end of this road at a yellow jersey.
Frank Schleck has also ridden about the worst time trial of his career, so put them both together, it means 3 minutes on the road, and that 3 minutes is now wiped out by the man who has always been the undisputed leader, despite all the press saying who is the leader of the CSC team, Frank Schleck or Carlos Sastre. Well, the answer now is Carlos Sastre, if there was any doubt, and I don't think there was any doubt, because this man was strong on Alpe d'Huez as well. He is looking now to what's his time, Paul. He's got to finish with a 1:7:29, and that's the worst time he must record to lose his race lead. I think he'd be a long way ahead of that. There's the lonely figure of teammate Frank. But tomorrow night, boy, these fellas are going to be drinking champagne like you would not believe it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Phil, he's got to be feeling confident now. He's got his teammate in front of him. He'll be using him as a carrot. He'll be looking to try and see if he can catch up to his teammate Frank Schleck, and he knows how important that is. It is so important in a time trial if you can see somebody right in front of you, as Carlos Sastre can see his own teammate now. Frank Schleck has ridden a terrible time trial here this afternoon, and Carlos Sastre has ridden a superb one. He's looking at just a few kilometres to go towards the finish line, Phil. The next man on the line will be Bernard Cole, who's done a great performance, but Sastre has done the performance of the time trial this afternoon.
Just look at Carlos Sastre. It reminds me of the days of Lance Armstrong in the time trial. He almost looks the same here as we move up the road to find Bernard Cole. Well, this has been one of the sensations of the Tour de France. He has climbed the mountains with the best. He has won the King of the Mountains title. We thought today he would fade away. Nothing was further from the truth. This guy has come out to fight all the way to Paris and to hold a podium finish. You would have got terrific odds on him not doing that. Here is the catch here. The two teammates who have dominated the Tour de France with the team CSC shut down the time trial, and he goes straight by him. No time to say hello right now because a yellow jersey is at stake.
He is battling, Phil. This is the most impressive time trial he's ever ridden in his life, and they're trying to get into his slipstream. Is Frank. Well, Frank needs to pull over to the right-hand side of the road there. He shouldn't slipstream, but Bernard Cole, Phil, has done a phenomenal ride. He's not going to rival the time of Cadel Evans. That's
well, that's just as well. 1 second is all the difference. He must not finish 1 second better than Evans. If he does, he will be up there. And now Cadel Evans has gone above him by that 1 second. So Cadel Evans will be in second place in the Tour de France, and this rider looks like confirming a fine finish in 3rd place in the Tour de France. All that tomorrow, of course, but today the time will tell, and that is a great ride. 1 1:06.11 for Cole.
9th place finish there for Bernard Cole, and of course he will be very happy, Phil. He probably didn't believe himself that he could hold on to a podium position in a race like this, because he was up against some giants of the individual time trial. Now there are just 2 men left. One man is in the yellow jersey. The time he has to finish inside is 1:07.29, and I have a feeling, Phil, he's going to be comfortably inside of that.
Well inside, I'm sorry to say, for Cadel Evans, because this man has been inspired. The one rider who's dropped away from the podium is right in front of our camera right now. And it's just as well Frank Schleck wasn't on form today. Otherwise, Cadel Evans would have been finishing in 4th place in the Tour de France, or 3rd place rather in the Tour de France, because Cole has been so inspired. And just look at this man. He is just being dragged to the finish by the scruff of his racing shorts there as he goes into the last few kilometres. 6 to go, a warning from the race referee. He's using that man as a carrot, and we've seen that he's not on form. He'll be penalised, and he's been put as correct. The rule is 25 metres behind, and I think 2 metres to the offside of the rider in front.
Well, Frank Schleck there, just surviving his Tour de France stage here this afternoon, Phil, but still at the front. The yellow jersey firmly now on the shoulders of the man in front there, Carlos Sastre. What a phenomenal performance. Going over the top of the climb now, he's going to set himself up for a slight descent, but he's still got to keep that battle going right the way to the finish.
Well, whatever the gains are now, you don't gain anymore. It's all downhill to the finishing line. All the directors sportifs have been telling the riders the time trial here is ending at 5 kilometres to go, because the road swings in favour of the high-speed artists, and they're all pretty much the same speed. The strength section of the time trial is behind them. If the race goes all the way to the finish as it stands, Cadel Evans will lose the Tour de France by 1 minute and 14 seconds. Bernard Cole will be 3rd at 1:28. Menchoff will be up to 4th, and Christian van der Velde will have climbed 1 place up to 5th.
Phil, at the 3rd time check at 47.5 kilometres, the difference in time between Cadel Evans and Carlos Sastre was only 20 seconds. This man has ridden his heart out for Spain this afternoon and for Team CSC. You know, Team CSC for me was the team of the Tour de France here. They came to this race with specific goals. They came out and they laid the foundations. They dictated the tactics of the race. They are the ones who told the story of the race. But what a performance it was by Carlos Sastre after the work done by the whole of the squad, Stuart O'Grady included, over the slopes of the big mountains to win the yellow jersey on the slopes of Alpe d'Huez, and we still didn't think he'd done enough to win.
Well, sadly for Cadel Evans, it looks like being unlucky 13, because 12 times in modern times the Tour de France has changed leadership in the final time trial, and that man has taken the journey to Paris. This would have been the 13th time, but it looks like it's not to be.
We're looking at 3 kilometres to go to the finish now. It's a long wait for Carlos Sastre. Poor old Frank Schleck, he battled in the mountains, but finally I think the hierarchy in Team CSC was slipped over to the shoulders of Carlos Sastre, who rode a phenomenal performance on the slopes of the Alpe d'Huez to pull back 2.25 minutes on Cadel Evans on that occasion. And that should have really been the first sign to us, Phil, that Cadel wasn't the man to win the Tour de France this year. We're looking now at Frank's place.
Look at this 57th time on the day.
5 minutes and 14 seconds behind Stefan Schumacher at that point.
It confirms what we thought since the Alpe d'Huez. Frank Schleck is a very tired cyclist, but he's dragging himself to the end of the Tour de France, and at the end of the day his team are going to win the team prize, and it looks like the overall individual prize, as well as the white jersey as best young rider. They really have been the best team in the Tour de France. They deserve everything they've got.
Phil, we're at 2 kilometres to go here, and unfortunately, because of the rules that are applied in an individual time trial like this, our television motorbike is not allowed to go past Frank Schleck, so that's why we have to stay here. We can't get right in there with the man who wears the yellow jersey. I don't think it would falsify the result at the moment, but I tell you what, it really is tough for Frank Schleck to see his own teammate overtake him and ride like this towards the finish line. The time that Carlos Sastre needs to finish inside, a quick reminder, is 1:07.29. I don't think he's got to worry too much about that.
No, I think he'll be there. As we look at the long straight here, we're going to see the final kilometre very, very shortly. Frank Schleck is seeing his team captain from the best possible position now. The man that he's nursed, and don't forget Frank himself was the leader of this Tour de France. He took the lead off Cadel Evans, and now finally at Alpe d'Huez it passed from Frank Schleck to Carlos Sastre. Cadel Evans should have held Carlos Sastre much, much closer. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. The leader of the Tour de France is under 1 kilometre to go, about 1 minute and 2 seconds to the finish.
Phil, he's been in the saddle for 1 hour, 5 minutes and 22 seconds, and he's inside of the final kilometre now. He's certainly going to keep his yellow jersey here this afternoon. He probably didn't believe it, but he said yesterday, Phil, at the end of the stage, when somebody said to him, what about the time trial? He said, I feel happy, I feel calm, I'm confident, I'll see what I do on the day. Well, I think it's the experience that this man has got, that he brings to the sport, that's allowed him to go into this and give his finest ever time trial performance.
He always told his team, I want to win the Tour de France. I want you guys to help me win the Tour de France. Now it looks like he has won the Tour de France. Carlos Sastre lines up for home. 1:7:29 is not even going to be close, I'm sorry to say, for Cadel Evans, because he can amble up the home straight now, because tomorrow he rides to Paris in yellow, and by tradition they won't attack him. In fact, they haven't got enough time even near him to attack him. So Carlos Sastre comes home, his time in the time trial best ever. He thanks everybody, he waves to the crowd. He knows now he's won the Tour de France, and he's won it by around a minute.
Well, that was an unbelievable performance. I want to see him get off his bike right now, Phil, because nobody can believe the performance of this young man. He pulled himself inside out. He looked at the time of Cadel Evans. Evans was never very much more than 25 seconds ahead of this man. He has ridden the time trial of his life. He never, ever in his career has been able to rival Cadel Evans in the individual time trial, and I think Evans today had a very bad day. He just could not take the pressure. Let's not forget, Cadel Evans finished in the top 10 in the individual time trial, but I think to win the Tour de France today, Evans needed to win this time trial.
Well, it's the congratulations time now. The pain is over for Carlos Sastre. I don't think there was anybody except the Spanish and, of course, Team CSC gave him a hope of winning this race in the time trial against Cadel Evans. But on the day, he proved to be the stronger of the two, and he really was riding like a man possessed. He has won the Tour de France for sure now. Tomorrow, though, he has to ride the full distance, and he has to make sure he gets to the Champs-Élysées and keep himself out of trouble. Cadel Evans tonight will, though, be sitting in second place in the Tour de France, and the sensational Bernard Cole will be there in third place. And nobody gave him a chance either.
No, they didn't at all. The man that we were surprised to see his climbing ability managed to hold on to everything and keep himself up on the podium.
Well, as we look down here at this remarkable little result in Saint-Amand-Montrond, that's the press room, by the way, tonight, where there'll be 1,000 media writing the story. And I hope they didn't write it before the time trial started, because it won't be the right one. It's going to be a man in yellow tomorrow who is from Spain, just like it was a year ago. And Schumacher gets his second time trial win of the Tour. We'll have all the podium interviews, final results, when we come back.
Remember when times were simpler? When your favorite park didn't have a theme? When you spent hours waiting for a moment? And when the old way was the best way? Now at Bass Pro Shops, get a free weekend adventure guide full of ideas for low-cost family getaways. You can also enjoy free laser arcade games, prizes, and workshops. Plus, check out the store and boat sidewalk clearance sale. Your adventure starts here for less than you think.
Harold and Kumar's newest adventure.
Neil?
Bigger, bigger, bigger. Hello.
Can be described in one word.
What's the?
Unrated. Harold and Kumar escape from Guantanamo Bay. Buy it Tuesday on unrated Blu-ray and DVD.
When your engine's running clean, you feel it. And Pennzoil Platinum Motor Oil can clean out up to 46% of sludge in the first oil change. Our ultimate clean for your ultimate feeling. Not just oil, Pennzoil.
2002 was my first tour. I definitely remember the feeling I had when we swung onto the Champs-Élysées on the last stage for the first time. I got goosebumps. And it was an incredible feeling.
Travel, stress, eating on the run. Diarrhea stops me in my tracks.
Stop it fast with KO Pectate. Unlike pills, KO speeds to the source, shutting down diarrhea and its discomfort fast.
Really fast.
Stop diarrhea fast with KO Pectate.
It's all in the spray.
New Bullfrog Marathon Mist Continuous Spray. Up to 8 hours of powerful waterproof sun protection that goes on faster and lighter than ever. Ultimate strength meets ultimate speed.
Bullfrog!
New Bullfrog Marathon Mist.
Are you feeling stuck in a job that's not getting you anywhere? Westwood College puts you on the fast track to a great career in a high-demand field like criminal justice, healthcare, technology, design, or business, including construction management. With a bachelor's degree, you could be earning up to 62% more income annually. Classes start soon. Call now for our free Career Success Kit with the most current salary information for more than 20 hot jobs. Call 800-625-7937.
Television first. From the creator of Survivor, The Contender Muay Thai. Premieres Thursday at 10 on Versus.
Dude, who uses a body wash to get clean?
This won't increase my ability to mate.
It's gonna make the ladies want to smell me. Just put their nose and just
Finally, a body wash for grown-ups. New Nivea for Men body wash has a fresh, subtle scent and is good for your skin. Works for me. Nivea for Men, what men want.
Pushing yourself to the edge has never tasted so good. Try new Power Bar Energized Fruit Smoothie in 3 great flavors. Creamy citrus, berry blast, and tangy tropical. Rich smoothie taste. Power Bar, power to push.
It's got some oomph.
Andy, it's great gas mileage.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, I could get used to it.
Phil?
When is this event gonna be over?
Soon. Real soon. Thanks, Phil.
An event like this can get a little wild.
The Autobahn for All Summer event. Get 3 VWs for under $199 a month or 0% APR on all 08 models.
Welcome back to the Tour de France here. It's the penultimate day. It's over. It's the time trial. And we're watching here now. The riders eventually are going to come out on the podium. What a sensation. The yellow jersey, everybody confidently predicted he would lose. He didn't. He left the start house, did Carlos Sastre, last man of 145 riders. And about 12 minutes up the road was Cadel Evans, who he saw his #1 target. But as he got into his rhythm, Cadel Evans found he had 2 men to worry about. Bernard Cole as well was doing a great ride out there, fighting for the podium finish. He got very quickly into his rhythm, and then he bridged a 3-minute gap in the last quarter of the race to pass his teammate Frank Schleck and come home alone. By over a minute, he conserved of his 1:34 advantage on the morning over Cadel Evans. And Cadel Evans has never been beaten by this man in a time trial. That will still apply, but this man has never finished as close to Cadel as this. So now he will keep his yellow jersey tomorrow, and looks like, being barring accidents, and we don't wish that on anybody, he will win the Tour de France on the Champs-Élysées tomorrow afternoon. And that will be a huge fillip for him. This is the man who won the time trial, again delivering a great blow. When he got out of the start house, Stefan Schumacher was really on a roll. He didn't look as though he was firing that well on the road, but when he got to the first check, he was exactly equal with the time of the world champion, Fabian Cancellara, 21 minutes and 30 seconds. And then, surprising us all, he seemed to be dropping behind, as he did in fact lose 12 seconds by the second check. Then he gained ahead by 14 seconds at the third check, and then he came up that home straight to record the best time by 21 seconds. And what about Christian van der Velde? Yes, we held out a very distant hope of a podium finish, but oh boy, did these riders fight to keep their places in this Tour de France. The big loser, of course, was Frank Schleck, and the big gainer was Christian van der Velde. He didn't just run for a good time, he ran up amongst the leaders of the day. He was riding now to a 4th best time finish, and the best finish of all of the top 6 favourites of this Tour. He has kept his great knowledge of this race. He'll come back and ride again very, very well. But for tonight, he'll reflect on a 5th place finish in the Tour de France tomorrow, and that is superb. I guess the whole of Australia are going to feel rather disturbed about the way Cadel Evans didn't deliver in the time trial. But in fairness to Cadel Evans, when you come out here with all of the pressure of everybody on you, you just can't really always deliver the goods. He got off to a slow start. We were shocked by the fact Cole was going quicker than him for a while. By the time he got to the finish, Paul, I'm afraid it wasn't good enough.
No, it certainly wasn't, but even his body language showed, Phil, that he was struggling with the gear. He was overgeared. He was massively overgeared, fighting with the gear. He never really looked comfortable at all.
A day in yellow for Carlos Sastre. Was it to be his last day? I must confess all the experts thought so, but we didn't reckon on the magic of the maillot jaune. Once you pull it on, you ride like two men. Sastre settled in quickly. We saw by the first check he conceded only 8 seconds to Evans. Already, as early as that, it was enough to tell us Evans was not going to recoup a minute 34.
No, he really never got going, Cadel Evans, this afternoon, but one man did, and this man, Carlos Sastre, matched Cadel Evans very well throughout the whole of his individual time trial. He hardly lost anything at all, and I wonder if he didn't take some advice from Pedro Delgado, Phil, himself a winner of the Tour de France, and upped his gear, because he was using a bigger gear than I've ever seen him use in an individual time trial, and it just goes to prove that he was coming out of this Tour de France fresh, strong and dedicated.
Mobbed here at the finish. It's not just a mob as a congratulation for keeping the lead. They're mobbing him now because he's won the Tour de France. Let's have a look at the Honda ATV stage results first. Schumacher does it again. His second win despite his hard riding in the mountains. Cancellara second, the world champion. Kim Kirken, another great ride from the Team Columbia, in third. Van der Velde, outstanding, best of the top 6, fourth. David Miller coming back. Garmin Chipotle have had a great tour, haven't they? Fifth for him. Denny Menchoff was the second best of the top 6 riders. He was 6th. Evans was 7th. Sebastian Lang in there again. Bernard Coe, outstanding. George Hincapie, solid as ever, in 10th.
Unbelievable. Thomas Lockwood, Team Columbia, up there in 11th place. Carlos Sastre, 12th at 2:34. Incredible. And look at the rest of the riders from Garmin Chipotle. Ryder Heyerdahl and Danny Pate, 13th and 14th. And the solid man from Germany and CFC, Jens Voigt, in 15th. Great ride by Chris Froome from Kenya in 16th place. A little bit further down, Sifsov 18th, and Jus Postuma 20th for Team Rabobank.
And almost certainly Garmin Chipotle today won the Team Race Award in the time trial. That's how consistent they were. Well, Sastre's happy. He's out getting changed right now. We'll take a break. Coming up, an interview with Christian van der Velde and the podiums.
Joey came up with some new bottle designs. Okay, this one says, I appreciate art. And this one says, you're an unselfish lover. And this one says... You're fired.
In a world gone soft, someone's got to be hard. Mike's Hard Lemonade.
You want to be the best. You gotta take out the best. Get the gloves.
Never Back Down. Own it on DVD and Blu-ray.
Switch to Valvoline's Max Life, and there's no telling how long your car will keep going. Max Life not only protects against friction, but also leaks, deposits, and sludge, the 4 major causes of high-mileage engine breakdown. Drive it forever.
They're hitting the road and looking for a fight, searching for the next MMA badass. Tap Out's back, Wednesday at 10 on Versus.
A healthy lifestyle begins before you even get out of bed. It begins with a Doctor's Choice mattress, the perfect combination of support and comfort. In fact, I've recommended it to my patients.
Visit our store or website and discover all the benefits of Doctor's Choice by Denver Mattress.
Saving energy at home is simple. Here are some steps you can take each day as you leave your home. Turn it down. Unplug it. Turn it off. Yes, it's a CFL. Take a ride. Share a ride.
Or ride.
The new energy economy, helping you save energy at home. Learn more at colorado.gov/energy.
2002 was my first tour. I definitely remember the feeling I had when we swung onto the Champs-Élysées on the last stage for the first time. I got goosebumps. And it was an incredible feeling.
Welcome back. We're approaching the end of the day here in Saint-Amand-Montrond. We've seen a sensational time trial. We have seen a man make sure nobody stole his yellow jersey off him. Carlos Sastre has kept over a minute of his lead in hand over, yes, the man we thought would take it, Cadel Evans. Well, as we look down here at yet another beautiful prairie, let's go down to Robbie Ventura, who's now chatting with the man of the day, as far as I'm concerned, Christian van der Velde.
Christian, one thing's for certain, you had an incredible ride today. No matter where you finish on the overall, you proved yourself to be one of the most well-rounded riders in the world. How do you feel about your performance today?
Great. I think I'm caught Valverde, you know, and I was hoping to to catch him and get some motivation through that, and I didn't know how, you know, plausible that actually was, but it happened, and yeah, we'll see whatever happens with the people behind me.
You seem to get stronger throughout that entire ride, moving yourself up on the time splits. Was that the plan before the race, or did you just go by feel?
I usually go by feel, but you know, the course suits me the longer it is, you know. And I had Jonathan in the radio today, and Al looked at the course yesterday, and they, you know, said take it pretty easy on the beginning, and the race will be won at the end. But
any surprises out there on the course? The wind, the heat?
It was warm. It was warm, and the wind wasn't so bad, but you know, it was a great Tour de France time trial again.
Thanks, Christian.
Well, we must apologise. We couldn't show you the catch. I would like to have seen, Paul, of Christian there catching Alejandro Valverde. We're not in control of the pictures. They are host pictures going to everywhere in the world. They do the best, but we missed out on that occasion. But what a ride catching Valverde.
Absolutely phenomenal. I have to say, what a ride for Christian van der Velde throughout the whole of this Tour de France, Phil, because to me, it wasn't his time trial that made me think that he was brilliant this afternoon. It was more than anything else. It was really his ride through the mountains.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, vive le Tour de France. That's a velodrome down there as we go inside now to see Stefan Schumacher. Salutes the crowd again. 2 wins. Both time trials are his, and he hasn't waited for the time trials. We saw so much of him in the mountains as well.
No, he was a phenomenal performer. He was not scared at all of going out on the attack on a number of occasions, and he did say that he was surprised at how strong he was coming into the final week of the Tour de France, and that proved it today, Phil, because he was a strong man in the individual time trial.
Well, it's a shame that Gerolsteiner leave the sponsorship of cycling this year. It's always been advertised, and it hasn't just happened or anything like that. It's just they've done enough for what is a bottled water company, but they have had an incredible Tour de France, and leaves the question begging now, who will pick them all up? Let's have a look again at the Honda ATV results. Schumacher getting the victory over the world champion by 21 seconds, 61 seconds to Kim Kirk, and again a great time trial from him. Van der Velde lost 1 minute and 5 for 4th place, and the world champion there were David Miller there in 5th place at 1:37. 2 Garmin Chipotle boys. Looking further down, we've got George Hincapie, who was always up there, bandaged up as he is from his crashes. He got across the line 10th. Disappointment there was Cadel Evans, only 7th at 2 minutes 5 seconds down.
Yes, that was a bad ride by Cadel Evans, and one that he will have to try and analyse later on in the season, because he never really looked comfortable. He never really got the gear going. The great ride, Phil, was done by 12th place finisher Carlos Sastre, 2:34 behind Schumacher, but more importantly, only 29 seconds behind Cadel Evans, and that was a great performance. Garmin Chipotle right up there in 13th and 14th with Hejerdal and Danny Pate.
Danny, when he finished, led, of course, and he's finished the day in 14th position. Chris Froome there, this young man, Discovery from Kenya, heads for his first Tour de France with a high finish, and he finished 16th today. Now, I can hear that Frankie Andreu has now found the winner today. I should imagine he's pretty happy. Stefan Schumacher.
Stefan, congratulations, your 2nd time trial win here at the Tour. You've been on the attack the last 3 days. Can you believe you still had so much strength to be able to take another win?
No, I felt this year was the first time I was really constantly in the 3rd week. So normally I had after 10 days or 2 weeks I was going down. It was my 4th 3-week race, and yeah, this year I wanted to have the 2nd stage win, and yeah, I was not the first on the line, but I could win this. This is my second time trial, so I'm really happy about this. And I was really confident because I felt that I had good legs also in the last days. And today the circuit was perfect for me.
A nice circuit out there. Were you getting time checks along the way, and did you realize that you had a really good chance to be able to win along the route?
Yeah, after the second time when I was 12 seconds back, I was not sure, but I had my rhythm, so I was sure that in the last climb it was not easy, and I knew that there you can make a lot of time, and there will be the decision of the race. And for me, I think I made everything perfect. I give 100%, and I had a good rhythm, and so in the final I didn't see this. You know, after such a long time trial, you look like this, and I didn't know anything after the line, so I asked which place, and then I heard first, and after Cancellara was on the road, I knew that I had a good chance to win.
Well, congratulations on the 2 wins and to making it to Paris.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely superb. We might be, Frankie may have interviewed the next world time trial champion. Who knows? After all, he's beaten Cancellara twice in this year's Tour de France. Anyway, as we continue to look at the man who should win the Tour de France, we'll see him on the podium next as soon as we come back. We'll also confirm the overall standings.
Being able to fit your bike properly is crucial. It's the most important thing when choosing a bike. Cervelos are designed to fit everyone, male or female. On our team, just like on Team CSC, everyone rides a stock frame. On a lot of other teams, they try custom frames, woman-specific frames, but nothing seems to work as well as simply riding a stock Cervelo. In fact, it was a big reason why I switched to my new team in this Olympic season. That and the fact Cervelo make the fastest bikes out there. So when it comes to the big show, I'm not leaving anything to chance.
Derek Redmond didn't finish in first place in the 1992 400 meter. He didn't finish in second, or third, or fourth. He and his father finished dead last. But he and his father finished. Visa, proud sponsor of the Olympic Games, and the only card accepted there.
Well, it might surprise a lot of people that ExxonMobil would be interested in lithium-ion battery technology applied to hybrid electric vehicles. Our new battery separator film is a true breakthrough that's going to enable the deployment of more hybrid vehicles faster. This means a tremendous reduction in greenhouse gases, the equivalent of removing millions of cars from the road. I think this is the most important project that I've worked on in my career.
An American television first. From the creator of Survivor, The Contender Muay Thai. Premieres Thursday at 10 on Versus.
2002 was my first tour. I definitely remember the feeling I had when we swung onto the Champs-Élysées on the last stage for the first time. I got goosebumps. And it was an incredible feeling.
Buying a car is a big decision.
You need some advice.
That is why VHIX.com is so great. Check out the Power Circle ratings for any kind of vehicle.
JDPower.com, Power Circle ratings.
Anything that you want to know about a vehicle.
Mechanical quality.
The performance.
Design quality. Powertrain quality.
You're going to get the right car.
All this great information right on VHIX.com.
Use JDPower.com Power Circle ratings to rank vehicles you're interested in at VHIX.com, your online resource to find your ride. Search our online inventory. Thousands of vehicles are added weekly.
A healthy lifestyle begins before you even get out of bed. It begins with the Doctor's Choice mattress, the perfect combination of support and comfort. In fact, I've recommended it to my patients.
Visit our store or website and discover all the benefits of Doctor's Choice by Denver Mattress.
The 2008 Tour de France on Versus is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Live life to the ultra. And by Cervelo. Enjoy engineering.
Welcome back to the Tour de France, and we've just seen Carlos Sastre nailed down in the time trial, the final Liège to take up to Paris. Let's have a look at our Farmers Insurance moment of the day. And of course, it is the defence of the maillot jaune, Paul, of Carlos Sastre.
Well, there's not many people would have predicted this. To me, the moment of the day was when he caught and passed his teammate, Frank Schleck, who started 3 minutes ahead of him on the road. It was a phenomenal performance by this man, who's more reputed as a climber than an individual time trialist.
Well, that's our Farmers Insurance moment of the day. Now we can try and find the podiums if we can get down there, because I think he's about ready to come out now, Carlos Sastre. I can hear the music. And there he is, Carlos Sastre. He'll feel pretty safe now, Paul. He couldn't have felt safe last night.
Well, I'm sure he didn't feel safe going into the individual time trial, looking at the statistics, as all of us have done over the last 48 hours since he got that yellow jersey on the slopes of the Alpe d'Huez. But now he must feel a little bit more confident, Phil, with the Champs-Élysées and Paris on the horizon.
Yes, and as Paul Sherwen reminded me during the break, the man who wears yellow at Alpe d'Huez has won the Tour de France, and it looks like after the time trial that is going to be the case, because he took yellow in the Alpe. There's the crowd here. I have to say many of the crowd here are Australian. They've been rather quiet since they're looking now at this rider pull on what they think will be the final maillot jaune. Bernard Hinault congratulating him there. He knows what it's mean. That was the scene earlier round the back when Stefan Schumacher stepped off, as he congratulated also Carlos Sastre. This is the Michelob Ultra overall standings with a day to go. 84 hours and 1 minute, and Cadel Evans is still looking for 1 minute and 5 seconds. Bernard Cole, an incredible ride. He's going to finish this tour third. Denny Menchoff of Rabobank has come up into fourth. Christian van der Velde of Garmin-Chipotle, celebrations tomorrow in Paris, because he's going to finish this Tour de France now in the 5th position. See if we can show you some more. Frank Schleck, he was the big disaster today, down from 2nd to 6th.
He certainly was. Sammy Sanchez solid in 7th. Kim Kirken climbing up into 8th place. Valverde dropping down into 9th. And Tadej Valjavec topping out the top 10.
Sandy Cassar, the top 15 there, completed by the Cofidis rider, Amiel Moinard, 23 minutes and 31 down when you're in 15th place. But it's been a terrific Tour de France, and it brings back the old adage, pull on that maillot jaune, and you ride like two men, right?
Absolutely. What a great ride by Carlos Sastre today. He really did something very, very special.
He most certainly did. Let me remind you, the Tour de France hasn't ended today. They've got a ride to Paris tomorrow from Étampes. We'll head up to the Champs-Élysées. It's a reasonably flat stage. Couple of ripples of 4th category. Nobody worries about them. Down the banks of the River Seine, see the Eiffel Tower, and then you head on to the Place de la Concorde and up the Champs-Élysées.
Up and down the Champs-Élysées, 8 laps of that circuit the riders will face. As you can see, there are a few ripples to begin with through the Vallée de Chevreuse, but at the end, it's fast and furious on the Champs-Élysées.
And a final reminder of our time tomorrow. We're going to follow it all the way, of course. Tomorrow we'll be on at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time for that last stage of 89 miles. Enhanced prime time coverage, as always, with Bob Roll and Craig Hummer. That will commence tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, also check in tonight at the same time. Well, it all got off to a great start for the big men, but it never happened for Cadel Evans. The world champion thought he'd done enough to win this when he pedalled at 70 kilometres an hour, but it was never to be. The man who took the day's stage was Stefan Schumacher, his 2nd time trial winner of the Tour. Menchoff finally recovered a little bit of lost time, and I'm afraid Cadel Evans didn't recover enough of his lost time. You catch your own teammate, you win the Tour de France. All our information on Versus.com, and on there we have an interview with Bjarne Riis, the manager and owner of Team CSC, and so do check in on that. We're on our way again, another hotel. We'll be in Paris tomorrow when we see you next, and until then, for everybody, goodbye.